Now seems like a good time to start your research.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You know?
Yes, start. Okay, we good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hello, and welcome to Spooky Sips, where we put our love of horror movies into a podcast and sip some spirits along the way. I'm one of your hosts, Ivette, here with my co-hosts, Laura and Brianna.
Hello.
Hey. All right. So we went back to 2002 tonight and we watched 28 Days Later. Oh, I remember seeing this in high school, but that is the only thing that I remember. I didn't remember anything else about it. It's essentially this guy wakes up and he'd been in a hospital and he wakes up and the world is just like gone and shut down. Like London is abandoned and he's trying to figure out what's going on. And that's the setup. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Don't confuse it with the movie 28 Days with Sandra Bullock.
Yes, if any of you are confused,
They're very different movies.
A great film. So if you need a bit of a palate cleanser after, that would be a good one.
The 28 Days Later, 28 Days double feature.
The pipeline, the 28 Days pipeline. I like this.
I need some like movie theater to do this.
I'm surprised they haven't, you know.
Yeah.
I had completely forgotten that it was Cillian Murphy. Is that his last name?
Mm-hmm.
In it. And so when it opened up, I was like, wait, does this guy look like him or is this actually him?
Right.
So that was a fun, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot because I said in the last episode that I have no idea what this movie is about and I know nothing about it. And I completely forgot. No, I watched it just like a few years ago. So I was full of shit. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that or thought that, but clearly it didn't leave a lasting impression on me.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because I thought I was going to remember it because I remember the experience of going with my friend to see it and nothing. I did not remember a drop of this entire movie. So it was the first time for me.
Interesting.
Well, and then it was so funny because Laura and we had downloaded the movie to watch and it opens up and the quality was terrible. So we were like, oh shoot, okay. But then we went to look at Amazon and we watched the trailer and that's just how this movie is filmed.
Yes.
And we were like, oh, okay.
We didn't download it. We borrowed a DVD from a friend.
You borrowed a copy.
Yeah, that's what download stands for.
I borrowed it from
legal transfer of copyrightable material.
It's what you meant to say.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, it's funny because I didn't remember that I'd watched the movie, but then as soon as it started, I was like, oh, yeah, I know the monkeys are going to get infected. And I remembered everything.
It all came back. Yeah.
It all came back once I started watching it. I just forgot the name of it somehow. I don't know.
Yeah. And I don't even remember what scene it was, but it was early on where Laura and I watched it together and I turned to her and I was like, I feel so middle-aged right now because the volume was all over the place. It kept going high and low. And then at one point it opens up to this scene where I'm like, I have no idea what we're looking at. I was like, have I lost my damn mind?
Yeah.
Does this look like anything? And thank God she said no, it didn't.
That was the scene with the bodies.
Oh, with the bot. It looked at first. It took
in
me
the church
a good 30, full seconds to be like, what are we staring at?
No, the way that it looks is it. I can kind of appreciate that it put me in 2002. It felt like a time capsule of that time and what things looked like and I felt like I was there. But it was kind of distracting. And I mean, how are they supposed to know that 23 years later, we'd be watching it and be like, wow, this digital camera didn't do a great job,
Right. No, for sure.
I can't blame them too, but it was distracting in the rewatch. And it was the same. I didn't borrow this movie. I got it through the proper channels and it still looked kind of shit. And the volume was all over the place. I was like, no, is it my TV? Something wrong with my speaker? I did put on subtitles.
Had you seen it before, Ivette?
No.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, no,
and you haven't seen confused. You haven't seen any of the because wasn't there 28 weeks later?
Yeah, I
And then
haven't seen that either.
I think
Mhm.
28 years later just came out, right? Or is it
Yeah, it
about
comes out on the 20th
Oh, okay.
of June.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, so like
I haven't seen the
So
second one.
I'm sad because I was originally thinking that 28 years later
Would be
was going to be
28
28
years.
years later, and they're close. Why
Right.
didn't they
I
just
know.
wait a little
I
while?
know.
Well, it'd be 5 more years.
Yeah.
Like if they were ready now.
Right.
Yeah, that's
know.
just not as poetic.
No,
No.
I totally thought the same thing.
They're,
I was like,
you know what they're
wait, is
doing?
it-
They're pulling a spooky sips. Like when we release an
Every time.
episode exactly a week off from when it would have come out or when we should have done it.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
yeah.
Yeah, we're known for that here on Spooky Sips.
You know what else we're known for? For me not understanding my notes.
Oh.
I must have thought that I'd remember what I was talking about because I
Mhm.
wrote down at the very beginning, I wrote down Killian, RBF.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
RBF.
RBF.
Sisterhood. So here's what she's talking about. She was saying, "Oh my gosh, I love the videos of him just
Oh,
having such
okay.
resting bitch face during interviews."
That's
where
totally
he
what it
just
is.
like
Resting bitch face.
just staring off with disdain. That's what you were talking about.
Those are so amazing. That is what I
Yep.
meant. Thank you for
You're welcome.
deciphering my notes. I was like,
Yep, that was
RBF?
it.
Well, at first, because then my mind instantly went Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I was like, did I write down the last initial?
You missed the letter.
Killian Murphy, Ruth Gibb. Ruth
Yeah.
I was like,
You know, it just
a
made
letter.
it made so much sense while
Oh
watching
my
it.
gosh, Laura.
I don't know. I didn't understand what I wrote. I did not even watch this that long ago, you guys.
That's so funny.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Please
no,
don't
the
believe
the
that.
rewatch though was kind of hard. Was just the way that okay, I'm jumping so far ahead, but the scene with the flowers when they're driving,
Yes.
What was that?
it was where is this coming from? Like it looks like a Van Gogh painting.
Yeah, it's like this. I wrote it was like a I don't know. I'm trying to think abstract sort of.
Yeah,
painting.
it really was like Van Gogh is the
Yeah.
best. Like
No, yeah, very like they're driving. They come across this field of flowers, but they all look so
Yep.
we already had the worst video quality you've seen in a major movie, and then they hit you with that. But it's not like they used it in the rest of the movie.
Exactly.
So it just was complete. I was like, did my TV just glitch?
No, I know. I
Did
turned
it?
to Laura and I was like, the flowers look
Am
like
I
that to
tripping?
you too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
please tell me I'm
No,
not alone.
either sprinkle it in and use it meaningfully or don't do it because that was weird.
Right.
No, it felt so out of left field.
I know.
Was, yeah. And it was intentional. I saw an interview with him. They were like, yeah, we did it on purpose.
It would have to be.
Art, that. I just don't know why. It felt
Mhm.
so weird. And they only used it once.
Mm-hmm.
I
was
know.
confused by
Yeah,
that.
no, that was
there
dumb.
were a few weird
Yep.
weird
Choices.
things in this movie. I did really like this movie, but it has some weird moments.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. It opens up with naked Killian.
Well,
No, that's
Oh
not the
shit,
opening.
you're right. It's the monkeys first.
Yes.
I just think of him naked. That's all.
we do need to talk about
naked.
Naked Killian.
That was all my
because
mind
Mhm.
went to.
We need to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it actually starts out with these it's kind of news stories, flashing between different news stories of just mass violence and chaos and destruction. And these poor monkeys, not rhesus monkeys, by the way.
These monkeys were not racist. Okay.
They're not the rhesus monkeys.
Because
What?
remember the episode with the Omen?
Oh,
Where Laura was talking about the research rhesus monkeys, and you
The
thought that she
rhesus
called them
monkeys.
racist monkeys.
I forgot about that.
I love how you forgot when you heard
What I said. In my
Oh,
defense, I
man.
was confused.
That's
So-
fair.
So a different type of scientific research monkey, not Reese's monkeys. They're being tortured and they're in these cages and they're just having to watch all this violence and it's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it set the scene for the movie. You know, like we just start with like all this fight, and all of that was fake. Like all the footage of stuff they did think about using
I was
real
wondering.
footage, and like they studied real, like, you know, like social rage is kind of how he described it. You know,
Mhm.
of like instances like multiple countries. So like they thought about using real footage, but they decided to go with like stuff that they
Interesting.
filmed. So none of that was real.
Okay. I was
Okay.
wondering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which, yeah, I feel like using real stuff is I don't know. That's
Yeah.
I
It could
think
have been
that's
interesting,
neat.
I guess.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
fact that it was fake maybe made it not date as easily.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's
Like, because
true.
it's not like you had to like kind of know what was happening in 2002 to really like understand it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So then
Uh,
the one of the doctors, he catches these people trying to rescue the monkeys, but he's warning them. He's like, they're infected with rage. Like that's a thing you can infect someone with. Like you can inject them with rage. And they don't listen. And they let him out of the cages, and then the monkey instantly. So I started trying to keep track of the deaths, and then I gave up.
oh, there's so many.
But
Like,
we do get our
yeah.
first death is the monkey just like attacks this woman. He just goes at her and like starts to eat her, and then instant zombification.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like other zombie movies where it takes a minute. You're
No,
bitten,
it's immediate.
you get
Yeah.
infected with the blood, you're a zombie right
Well,
away.
and I feel like there is some debate on whether this is a zombie movie because they're not undead. Like they don't
Right.
die. It's more like a
A
virus
live virus.
that spreads that like makes them rage.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because they're
Mhm.
not dead.
They're not
And you
dead.
can die and that's you get to die. You
Mhm.
won't get
Well, that
you
was
to
a
be
point I was
alive.
going to make is that they're easy to
Mhm.
kill, but oh my God, I never
Yeah.
even thought of that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And I mean, my first thought was, what is rage? What do you mean you injected rage? Shut the fuck up. Like, get out of here.
Did that fill you with rage?
It did. It did, you guys.
Yeah. Also, like
But
maybe they could use like slightly more security if it's like, oh, by the way, this like transfers
lethal
so easily.
Mhm.
in these like tiny aquariums. Like,
Yeah.
get out of here.
But then, yeah, we don't really get a title card
No.
Mm-mm.
because then we get a subtitle card. I don't know what you would call it, right? It's just 28 days later, like
28 days
small
later.
text
Mhm.
explaining what's happening. There's no
Yep.
like big title
Of the movie.
names on the screen.
Transition or
Like,
anything.
yeah, you don't really get that. You're kind of just
No.
in it.
Yep.
Mhm. And then this is when I just wrote down in all caps with 3 exclamations following it, penis! and then I wrote down,
Oh God.
is that Killian's dick we just saw? And then cute booty.
He does have a good butt. He does have a good butt.
I was not prepared for the penis.
But why was he naked?
Right. And you know, it was
Like
at
that.
this point that I told Laura, I was like, you know, I've just never seen one and been like, wow, that's really attractive. So I don't know what that says about me, but like that was a revelation for me personally.
Well, it's
For
like,
my
you know,
own.
like if someone sends you like a naughty pic and it's
Mhm.
unsolicited or you're not, wanting it.
Right.
It's like that. Like we did not know we were
Right.
signing up to just see
No.
full penis action.
And again, it doesn't make any sense why he would be naked.
He's like in a coma. Like
Right.
who
In a hospital bed, hooked
who
up.
was caring for this man?
Right.
Why was he naked?
Exactly. Like it really, a minimal would have a hospital gown that's open
Yeah.
in the back. Fine.
Well,
Like, but
yeah,
something.
Exactly. It's like it's not like hospital gowns are like giving a lot of coverage. We
Right.
could have gotten his butt with the hospital
Yes.
gown.
Mhm. So
But
I appreciated it
You got the
because we're
shot.
just coming off of watching The Substance, where we got to see a lot of female body.
yes.
true.
Some of it, most of it probably unnecessary to the point of the
Right.
movie. And then
Yeah.
it's not often you get to see full male
No, it's not.
That
And
is true.
we got that in Nosferatu. It's been a good year
It has been a good year for
men.
penises. Is that going to be the opening to the episode?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's been a good year for men.
Okay, anyway, I was distracted.
Anyway, so yeah, he wakes up and realizes that the hospital's abandoned. He like is looking around and he's like trying to find something to drink because I think we assume that he's been in a coma for like a month, right? Are we assuming that
It's 28 days.
Right. Well, see, but I wasn't sure. Is that saying 28 days later for the monkey thing? Or is that because like maybe he's been in a coma for 6 months? Like we don't know how long he's been.
Oh, that's true. Because he says he was hit by a car. Like we know what happened, but I guess we don't know how long he's been.
And what if he was like hit by a car of like, well, I guess it couldn't have been like a non-zombie zombie because they wouldn't have been able to drive the car. But what if he got hit by a car because some of these riots were starting? And I think that, I mean, he had some IVs. So I think that probably at least for a week or a couple of weeks, he's just been on his own in the hospital. Yeah. So he survived. He had been cared for up until that point, but then all the hospital people, died or whatever.
So yeah, he wanders around all of London just trying to like find somebody and just kind of taking it in that like, it just looks like, because there's no bodies, like it's just abandoned.
Can you imagine?
No.
Especially in a place like London where, and I thought that was so cool that they got so many iconic London like spots where it's like, it's hard to imagine a place like that being empty.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
And silent.
Yeah.
Yes. And so quiet.
Yeah. The music that they used during that, like that whole scene was cool. So cool. Like the atmosphere that they created.
Yes, it set the setting very well.
Yeah. Well, and apparently I think they may have even shot scenes with bodies in the hospital, or maybe they at least thought about it. And then they decided that it should be empty. And it was like, just for like the atmosphere. Like we want to create that sense of like, there's no one.
That was a very, very cool scene. Just iconic, I feel like.
And so he stumbles upon a church.
And he did, like, as he's going through, he did see like some signs on bulletin boards talking about having to evacuate people and different people searching for people. And I also got a jump scare as he's walking around right before he gets to the church. He like
the car alarm. I think?
The car alarm.
Yeah. No,
I
jumped.
Jumped out of her seat, you guys.
I just wasn't expecting it.
That was like the biggest reaction she's ever had to a scene in a horror movie in her whole life.
No, I also had a jump scare. With that. Oh God. Well, and apparently originally they didn't have music in the background at first, and then there was the car alarm, and apparently it was just way too surprising for people. Like going from like silent to hitting the car, like it was like way too much of a jolt. So that's why they ended up adding some music. And it's like even with the music, I jumped too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scary. Scary. Okay, but yes, then he goes to the church. And then we see as he's walking up the stairs, and I wrote it down so we can all decipher what this means. It says, repent. The end is extremely fucking nigh. NIGH.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That's like a thing, right?
Is it?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, it sounds like a thing, but I'm glad we didn't look it up so we can show the audience that listens
like the
to
end
our
is
podcast.
near. The end is. I don't know what nigh.
Is nigh the right word?
Yeah, that's definitely a real word.
Right. I just couldn't recall from my archives what it was.
Yeah. It's an old-fashioned saying that the world is ending.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Well, it's really fucking nigh.
I mean, I'm guessing that's where the end is near came from, right? Like it's like a, branch off of that, like a modernized, which makes sense.
Let's go back to nigh. That just sounds more dramatic.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
But yeah, then that was the scene where he's looking in, and I couldn't tell what the fuck we were looking at for like 5 minutes, and then finally I was like, "Oh, okay, it's dead bodies. Like it's bodies.
Like here's where all the bodies went."
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he calls out, I think, right?
Mhm.
And that was when we just kind of see them. There's a few that just pop up from the
Yeah.
pile.
And then we get the like priest or pastor
Yes.
that like comes out of the room.
And at first you can tell that he's so conflicted because like, first of all, this is the first one he's seen. So he has no idea what he's looking at.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I
So-
mean?
Yeah,
Like,
at first he's like trying to talk to him, and then he's like,
it's
"What are
like
you
a
doing?"
priest. So
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like, how could a priest be evil?
Yeah. Doesn't he like apologize or something?
Yes.
Like, oh, sorry. Like,
Exactly, because he
he's, like,
feels
trying to
bad.
be nice.
Because
Yeah.
it's a priest. Like, I know.
But then he ends up like again. I'm not going to keep. We're not going to keep track of the deaths, but he kind of kills the priest who's trying to attack him,
Mhm.
just out of self-defense.
Yeah.
And then but other zombies are like chasing him, so he's running out
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
the building. And then were these Molotov cocktails that were being
Yes,
thrown at
the
the
fire.
zombies?
I
Yep,
think so.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're just like throwing Molotov cocktails at the zombies, and then we just have these flaming. I'm gonna call them zombies, even if they're not.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. We know what you're
No,
saying.
that's
So,
Yep.
or the infected. We have these
Right.
flaming infected,
Mhm.
like chasing him and going into a gas station, and then we get a pretty sweet explosion scene of the
Yes.
gas station blowing up.
Yep. It
But
was
that
pretty
was that was such a good explosion.
Mhm.
Like I was like, oh yeah, there's the budget. Like
good. Yep.
I think we had a couple big explosions, which
And that's where he meets the two people whose names
Mark
are
and
gone.
Selena.
Mark and Selena.
Mhm.
And he's basically like, what is happening? Like, and they're
Mhm.
just like, we gotta go. Like,
Yeah.
so it's all very chaotic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she explains that, first it started as rioting, and then they discovered that the blood or the virus is in the blood, and
Mhm.
so that's what infects you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she gives him a
Yeah.
few rules of like, if he's
Oh,
gonna go
yeah.
with them,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
he has to follow these rules.
Yeah, so the rule 1 is don't go alone unless you have no choice.
Mhm.
And rule 2 is only go in the daylight.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then she also talks about how like you have to kill whoever you see is infected. Like it doesn't matter if it's us, it doesn't matter if we're infected, like you must immediately kill.
Yeah. Because you only have like a few seconds.
Yeah, like you
before.
cannot, you have to you got to do it right away, like no
Mhm.
pause.
Yeah, we get some rules for the zombies.
Because you can tell that they like have been in it and they're just trying to survive, and like
Mhm.
you can just see like the impact that it's
Yeah.
had.
It's been a rough 28 days.
Oh,
Yes.
hell yeah. For sure.
And then he's like he's going real slow because he's literally been in a coma for a month
Mhm.
and dehydrated and hasn't eaten, so like he's not going the speed that they are because like
Mhm.
he can't.
Yeah.
And she kind of explains like if you drag me down or if you're too slow, I will leave you behind in a second.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like because I think I forget if it's now. Oh, I think it's on a little bit after this. They explain that you have between the time you get infected until you turn into one, you have 10 to 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they know how fast it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She kind of explains that basically everyone you know is dead. Like your family is dead.
And this is in their like little
Oh,
they're
right.
in like a snack, like a vending machine area
Yes.
at like a
Mhm.
track station.
Mhm.
So that's where they're doing that. They're having that conversation.
Mhm.
But he's like, yeah, I need to see my parents though.
Yes.
I'm gonna,
Yeah, so they go to his
I need
house.
to find them. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And they go in and the house like immediately smells. So
Mhm.
like we know that they're dead.
Yeah.
And so he goes up to their bedroom and they were just in bed together.
Mhm.
There was like wine and pills out.
Which I mean, if you're gonna die like getting
Listen.
infected or whatever, just do wine and pills. I like it.
Honestly, this is
Yeah.
my biggest thing. Like if I was in the zombie apocalypse, no thank you. Like
Yeah.
no
I'm not
desire
surviving.
to survive. Like I'm out. Bye. Like
Yeah.
see you later.
Well, because then
So
we're
I get
just
it.
like snuggling, going to sleep. It's very kind of, Romeo and Juliet without the,
Mhm,
teenage
Mhm.
angst and whatever.
and there
Yeah.
was a little picture of him as a little kid
Mhm.
with a sweet little
The
note about how,
note.
like, what I can't remember. It just said,
Well,
that they loved him and that they were going to sleep, and then they told him, like, "Please don't wake up,"
oh,
which I think was, they don't want him to become infected.
Mhm.
yeah. Just so sad. Like, that was such a sad
It really
scene
was
to
sad.
watch. Like, the,
Yeah.
like, just the don't wake up,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
know, was too
Mhm.
sad. So, he gets some clothes and they go
Mhm.
downstairs and they're not there very long, right? Like, they're like,
Well,
"Okay, we'll sleep in the same room because that's the rule." Like,
they're
Yeah.
not there very long because then I get my second big jump scare because he's in the kitchen, um, just looking at stuff, and then zombies just crash through the window and the
yep.
ceiling and
Yeah.
um oh, because I think so I wrote down that they kind of like jump scared while he's like hallucinating. Like it was almost like he was thinking that his parents were there.
Yes.
Well, he
You're
was
right.
watching home movies.
But
Well, see,
how
but they
could
don't have electricity.
Oh.
So that's why I was like, I think maybe he was just hallucinating
But the
watching them.
zombies saw, like, a light, and
I
that's
know,
why
I
they
don't
went
maybe he had a generator. I was like, I don't there were
Yeah.
several things in this movie that I was like, I just need to not.
I mean,
I'm just gonna not
I feel
worry
like
about
there's
it.
a lot of back and forth on there being power and not being
Yes. So I was
yes,
like, I'm just gonna let it go.
yes, because so that's what we were debating. So I think he's hallucinating, but it seemed like he was watching
Mm,
a movie, but there would be no
right.
power. There's
That's
no one
true.
to
But, yeah,
run the
maybe he
power.
was just, like, remembering, and
Or
that's
it
how
was like a
they showed it.
handheld
Yeah.
that had battery.
I, like, don't remember. I
Right.
thought he was watching home movies, but
They
now
didn't
Right.
explain
I
it.
don't remember why.
Yeah.
They did
I
not
mean, either
explain it.
way,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
there's quite a few things in this that I'm like, no.
Mhm.
But you gotta suspend disbelief,
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
But then Mark gets infected.
Yeah,
So
real quick.
Selena just chops him up.
She gets them real fast.
And we don't see him turn at all.
No.
We don't see him turn. And
Like, yeah.
I'm guessing they probably like had an agreement.
I would
I
think
don't
Yeah.
want
so.
to be I don't want to, and I'm going to turn.
Mhm.
I don't
I would
want
think
to hurt
so.
you. If I turn, you have to promise me you're killing me instantly.
Right, and I don't
Yeah.
want that to be my last memories of my life is
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
this
Mhm.
whatever the fuck that would feel like to be taken over,
Totally.
Mhm. Yeah.
Totally.
So she's like, "All right, we gotta go. We
Mhm.
gotta go."
Yeah.
So then then again they see blinking lights, right?
Yes.
Christmas
Yeah, the
lights.
Christmas lights.
Blinking
Mhm.
Christmas lights on a balcony.
Yep.
And they're like, "Okay,
Let's check it out.
we gotta go."
Mhm.
So they do. It's like an apartment. And
They have
it's
to fight through
just
some zombies to get there.
yeah,
Yeah,
there
there's
was
all
some
the like, the grocery carts,
yes, which
Yeah.
was cool.
Yeah. And
And
he's,
yeah,
like, having a hard time going up. Like, it's the whole time he's like, "My head, it hurts. I'm dying. I was
yes,
in a coma."
yeah,
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
literally like so dehydrated that
Yeah. Poor
Yeah.
thing.
yeah,
He's had, like, half a Pepsi. Mhm.
right,
Mhm.
yeah. So they get to the apartment. It's this older guy and his daughter, and they're just so sweet. Like
Yeah.
they're just so kind, and they let him in, and they tell him like, we don't have much, but we have a little bit to
Mhm.
share. Like, and then
Mhm.
he informs them, the dad, that he heard this emergency like call on his like radio,
Mhm.
and that he, it's a recording, but here's what it is, and it's
Mhm.
the phrasing was really weird, but it was basically being like,
Like, we're
we're
soldiers.
soldiers, we have supplies, and what
And
was
then
it that
it
they
says the
said that
cure as
But
yeah,
well.
they
they had
also
the
say
cure.
we
Mhm.
have the cure, salvation is here.
Yes,
And
Yeah.
stuff like
salvation is
that.
here. And I was like,
Mhm.
that's creepy. So I
Yeah.
immediately was like,
No,
absolutely not.
yeah. No,
No.
immediate, like, we know this isn't gonna go
If
well.
anyone in a horror movie talks about salvation, run.
No. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Get
Now,
out of there.
before they talk about the radio call and everything, the dad is really excited that they have these guests over.
Mhm.
And I feel like this is a good time to talk about what we're sipping on
Yes.
because all that they have left is creme de menthe.
Creme de Menthe.
Creme de Menthe, this like very green minty liqueur. They're like, we have to celebrate, but that's all they have. So that's what they all
They
sip
just
on.
sip
And
on some
he's
creme de
so
menthe.
cute. He brings it out on a little tray.
Yeah, no,
like
it's so
he's
cute.
so
Like a little
excited.
silver platter.
Very cute. Yep. And they have all their Christmas lights around, which they at least had and like Christmas music, they at least showed that they had like a little generator
Yes.
for it.
Right.
So that was okay. But yes, it made it very just like magical moment with their creme de menthe.
But if you've ever drank creme de menthe, I mean, it tastes like toothpaste. Like it's,
I think
it's
my
like,
teeth are getting green.
Yeah,
it's like mouthwash. Like it's very intense.
Yeah.
So yeah, Laura had the idea to make something with it instead. So Laura, what are we sipping on?
So instead of us just straight creme de menthe,
Which
only
was my
cocktail,
idea.
Which we could have, but
we could have.
Our stomachs all would have hurt.
So the only cocktail I know with it is a grasshopper, which typically is going to be, now recipes vary, but I feel like the most consistent one I found was equal parts of creme de menthe, creme de cacao, and heavy cream. Is that what you found, Ivette?
Yeah, the one I found had less heavy cream.
Okay.
So
one I found had double heavy cream and one I had like half of it.
Heavy cream to your heart's desire.
Yeah, whatever your preference is.
Yeah.
So Yvette, you made the cocktail tonight?
Yes.
Brianna, not for you.
I did not. I did not have the supplies.
As the chooser, I figured I should probably be drinking it.
Right.
But full confession, there are some modifications with mine, as you might be able to tell by the color of my drink.
It's green.
It's very green. So I do have creme de menthe. I do have creme de cacao, but the dark brown version of it.
That's what I had too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't have heavy cream, but I do have no sugar added oat milk.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that is what I've made mine with. And
how is it?
It's actually pretty good.
Okay.
It's like a junior mint.
Yeah.
Liquid form.
Cute.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the heavy cream makes it a little lighter.
Yeah.
In the color, but yeah, I also had the brown.
So I made a backup for once this one's gone, and I added a little bit of extra oat milk. So hopefully the next one will be a little lighter in color.
Yeah.
I always think of grasshoppers. Philip and I went to Mexico after we graduated, and that was the drink that we like loved.
Oh my gosh.
While we were there, because like you could order drinks, so we were just drinking grasshoppers.
Hilarious drink.
That's an amazing drink.
Well, because we went with our Aunt Pat, and she at the time that was her drink. Like if Pat was gonna drink, it was a grasshopper. So
like,
like
not like a pina colada or like a margarita or like it's like no back to back grasshopper.
That is actually incredible.
Yep.
Well, and so I don't normally drink sweet drinks really. And just drinking this, like my mouth is coated.
Oh yeah, I bet. Oh, your tongue is so green.
Yvette, is yours green?
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Oh yeah, yours is too.
Cute.
Yeah, I feel like the heavy cream also adds to the my mouth feels sticky.
Totally.
But so anyway, we can call this episode like 28 Grasshoppers Later.
Yes.
Or something like that.
I love it. So yeah, no, I'm gonna try the cocktail again. It's been a long time since I've had a grasshopper, actually.
It's I mean, it's not bad. Like it's honestly pretty good.
It's actually pretty refreshing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like nice and minty. Like it's
Yeah, you got fresh breath after it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And a green tongue.
And a green tongue. So, okay, then we get a scene of Killian shaving. But the dad and the daughter, they point out that there's no water. And they've tried to like collect it in the buckets on the roof or whatever, but it's hard because they haven't had rain in 10 days.
Yeah.
And so he's just dry shaving with a razor. And what is the point of that? Like, why bother shaving?
Yeah. Yeah.
But even then, like, there were so many ways to do that without water, dude. You were like digging into your face, like just shave normally and like wipe it on your pants, like or a towel.
No, it didn't make any sense because I was just straight confused. So I watched it with
like,
Matt.
What is the point of this?
And I was like, what is he doing? Like, what's wrong with him? And Matt was like, he's shaving with no water. And I was like, that's dumb. Like, what? Why is he shaving?
Right,
That's
well, just don't shave
Exactly.
that because
you
that's always been an issue that I've had in, like, other kind of, apocalyptic movies is,
Mhm.
they'll show the women and there's no armpit hair, no
Right.
leg
Oh,
hair,
yes.
or the men are shaved, and it's like, "No, they wouldn't
No.
do that, just
Mhm.
let it grow at that
And my
point."
thought was like maybe he just wanted to feel better
Maybe.
Yeah.
for a minute, like but
Mhm.
even then, like who taught you how to shave? Like
Well, and
Terrible idea. No water.
the rest of the movie, like, he didn't have, like, marks
no,
on his
He did
exactly.
face,
for,
right?
like, the
Then
next
he was, like,
he
clean
did
shaven.
he did only for the
Yes.
next scene where he goes into Selena's room and she, like, points out that
Mhm.
he has cuts,
Right.
and I don't
Yeah.
know how I pulled this out so fast because he says something like, "Oh, yeah, there's no mod cons," and Brianna was
Mhm.
like, "Mod cons? What is that?"
Mhm.
I don't know why I know this. Modern conveniences.
I did not know that.
Oh.
And I looked it up to confirm after, I was totally right.
Huh.
Mod cons.
No
Modern
mod cons.
conveniences.
No.
So
Yet
anyway.
again, it makes me think of Sabrina the Teenage Witch and the episode where she has to go live on the prairie because she has to live without any modern conveniences.
No mod cons.
No mod cons.
No mod cons for her.
It always comes back to Sabrina.
So good.
But then there's a
Um,
debacle because Selena's like, all right, let's go. And the dad and the daughter want to go with. And she's like, absolutely not. Like, they will just slow us down,
Yeah.
you know?
Like they need us more than we need them.
Mhm.
And then finally later the dad heard and he was like, well, yeah, we do. But like,
Yeah.
then just leave us when it's time. Like, but
Yeah.
we're
And also
going
the
with you.
daughter was like, "That's not even true. You need us
Right.
too." Like,
Yeah.
it's, they need
Yep.
each other.
They do need
Our
each other.
unlikely group needs each other.
No, they really do.
Mhm.
Also, what was the daughter's accent? It
You know
wasn't
what? I
British.
tried to look it up because I was like, I almost feel like maybe she's Irish trying to be English, which I think that
Mm.
might be what it was. But yeah, I
Okay.
think that she had a different native accent, but was trying to be British.
Okay. Because yeah, it kept taking me out of the mood I just
Right.
it distracted me.
Well, and then I was like, where is this guy from? And of course, it's Harry Potter. If you ever have an English actor where you're like, I know this guy, it's Harry Potter every time. So that's what it was. He was Professor Moody.
Yeah, I feel like he has been in like a few things.
Yeah, he's been in
Yeah.
plenty other. That's not
Yeah.
like the breadth of his acting career.
Only Harry Potter. This and Harry Potter.
So, yeah.
But yeah, so because they'd heard the address on the radio broadcast about the salvation or whatever, they've decided they're gonna go, and they're all just gonna go together. They decide to all just go together anyway because the dad and daughter they have access to a car.
Yeah. A cute little taxi cab.
Mm-hmm.
Little cab, so they're gonna go to Manchester, and as they're going, there's kind of two paths they can take. One is kind of a little bit longer around, but above ground. And then they can go under a tunnel that's slightly faster. And some people are saying, let's go around. And then the dad's like, nah, fuck it. We're going through the tunnel.
No, I
Already
was so
stupid
annoyed
idea.
by that. I was like,
was so
no,
annoyed by
go
that.
around.
So
They
and
also
then-
made such a stupid mistake when they were getting gas. Like they were filling up the car before this,
Mhm.
and they had the tank. And so the dad siphoned gas and filled up the tank,
Mhm.
but he didn't also fill the car.
Yes.
He was just
Oh.
going to use the tank. I was like, dude, also fill the car.
We did see
Yes.
that. Okay.
Are
yeah.
you
Yes.
joking? Like,
No, I thought the same thing. I was
Yeah.
like, that's the stupidest thing. Fill the
so again,
because
there
I
were
bet you
things
have
in
a
this
full
movie that I was just
backup.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
like
so
if I
then-
ever write a movie, you guys, I
Well-
want you to like read it and be like, wait a second, this doesn't
Yeah.
make any forking sense.
We'll prove it.
Please
Proofread, yeah.
proofread my essay.
We'll proof watch your movie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So then they go through the tunnel, and sure as shit, there's a big pile of bodies and cars that's blocking the
Spooky.
way. Most people would just turn the car around.
No.
This motherfucker is like, nah, I'm just gonna off road.
Grand Theft Auto it.
I'm gonna treat this British taxi cab like it's a Jeep,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna go over the pile.
Yeah. That would be dumb in a Jeep too.
It would,
That's
yes. Yes.
no, there's
And
some things in this movie that just it's like, where did that come from?
Mhm.
Like having this little taxi off-road over cars and bodies or whatever. That made no
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Like, I think they were like, it'll be such a cool shot.
Well, so then they have it that he makes it over, which is impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
But they have a
But of
flat
course he
tire.
gets a flat tire.
Yeah, because that was dumb.
Like, that would be the only thing that was wrong.
So then as they're going to change the flat tire, the daughter's on the ground going to do it, and all these rats are running at them. At first, I thought the rats were infected too.
I
Yeah,
wondered about that
I did
too.
too.
Because
Mhm.
I thought they were going to get the daughter.
Yeah. No, I did too.
Yeah. But then Selena's like, oh, they're running from
Yes.
the infected. And you start to see shadows of
Mhm.
people running down
Mhm.
and around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so they're like, get in the car. Like, they're finishing changing the tire, and they do.
Yeah.
They get it. They all get in the
They go
car.
hit crew mode.
Right.
And I didn't
change
quite
the tire or whatever. Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, like I didn't quite understand as they're like kind of running away and getting away. There was this tense music, but there was also these like awesome screams that we heard. And clearly it wasn't coming from our main characters or the
Mhm.
zombies. Maybe it was just part of the music, but I did like the sound of all
Just the
the
atmosphere, you know.
awesome
Mhm.
screaming.
So yeah, then they're driving, and they drive to
Mhm.
Manchester, and they drive up to the, like, I don't know, barracks, whatever you call.
Well, but yeah, first we get the cute little picnic scene.
Oh my gosh, wait, I
With
forgot.
with the majestic
You're right.
horses and
First-
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, the
first we
grocery store.
The grocery
The
store.
grocery store. Oh
the
my God, we're
grocery
like,
store is a cute
jumping.
moment. You're right. It
There are
is.
so many things about an apocalyptic event that I think probably are not for me.
Mhm.
Like having to, just run for your life all the time and all
Yeah.
the isolation and, all the people that are dead.
Right.
Mhm.
Something that I think would be really cool is just like all the looting you could do
Yes.
because it's not hurting anyone because society doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So you
No.
could just go into stores and just take whatever the heck you want. Like
Yeah.
that, I think could be pretty fun.
And they do.
Yeah.
Selena
Yeah.
and the daughter. What's the daughter's name? I don't know.
I don't
They
remember any of
bond.
theirs.
Like, they're being so cute shopping together, and the
Mhm.
dad and Killian, I don't actually remember what his name is,
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know
are
either.
picking out whiskey, and the guy is like, no, man, you can't. You got to get a good one. And he picks out like a really good aged
Yeah,
one.
like a Macallan or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And he gets a lot of them, and they load up the car, and then they go on their cute little picnic. And I was telling Laura, I was like, you know what, actually, it would be a good idea if you just wanted like some time to just go to a really big open field and go in the
Mhm.
middle of it, because there's nowhere for anyone to hide,
Yeah.
So but yeah, they see the horses and they're fine, because the daughter did ask if they were infected, and the dad said it didn't look like it, like, no, they're fine. So that did tell us that like the animals also got infected, and we don't know
I mean, it came from a chimp.
exactly.
So,
And it went
we
it went back to so we get that they were also infected.
Yeah.
Um
So there is a stop before they get to the field that there's just some things I want to talk about.
mhm.
Mhm.
So this is actually I think when they go to the gas station.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, we just skipped every scene.
Because they pass the painting flower field.
Yeah.
Oh,
Whatever.
right. Yeah.
And then
yeah,
the
we talked about
weird
that. Like,
windmill.
yes.
Windmill thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then they get to the gas station and then they just make some stupid decisions. This is when I wrote down
Yeah.
curiosity killed the cat Jim, because Jim
Yeah.
is Killian's
And
character.
why was he
This
in
made
there?
me so annoyed. This
So
made me so annoyed.
They're getting
Yeah.
gas and then he's just like, I'm just gonna wander. And they're like, we just filled up the grocery store. We have everything we could need.
Yeah.
And he's just, I don't know, being an asshole, like going in,
Yeah.
looking through. And of course, he then meets a zombie kid.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what confused me because kind of like that weird flower art painting thing, it was the only time in the movie I feel like this happened. Correct me if I'm wrong. As the zombie kid comes to attack him, Jim then has to kill the kid.
Mhm.
And you hear the kid say, "I hate you."
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know they
Mhm.
could talk.
Yeah. The
Yes.
kid's
Because
just
really,
screaming like, "I hate you, I hate you."
Yeah.
I mean, like Yvette said, they're not dead. They're not
They're
zombies.
not
So, like,
dead.
it makes
Mhm.
sense that they can talk.
Mhm. Also, I feel like they, by not giving us information, I think it leaves things kind of open.
Exactly.
So I feel like they intend, like, we do not get all the rules of the zombies
No.
in this. Like, maybe they do more in like the sequels,
Right.
but yeah, I think that's the only time they talk in
That
this
gives you
movie.
more leeway, though, doing that.
Yeah.
Like, that gives you more forgiveness.
And I think there were some things they were like, I think when they started the movie, they thought the disease would spread to like the whole world. Like that was how they
Mhm.
originally started. And then it was like, okay, JK, we're gonna have it just be here.
Well, because,
so that then
okay,
they can so like I think things changed in
yes.
the development.
So this is interesting because very early on in the movie, when we learn that, like, it crossed the Atlantic,
We heard that
they
like
were
on a broadcast.
right.
We did. Mhm.
Like, I had to actually pause the movie,
Mhm.
and I was like, hang on. If it immediately incapacitates you,
Mhm.
how did it jump an ocean? Because they couldn't get on a plane being infected. They couldn't get on a boat. They couldn't operate any of those things. I was like, I don't understand how the virus traveled. That doesn't make
Across the
any
water.
sense. Like,
I mean,
because no, there really is no way. Because, like,
well,
if
I
it
guess, but
immediately,
we don't know how, because like like certain like diseases, right? It's like they can live on a surface, right? So it like because it was blood and saliva. So
yeah,
it wouldn't have to be an infected person. Like what it could be that the blood or saliva was on something that was then touched and then that person put it in their mouth or
I
like,
guess I just figured for
right? Kind
that
of
to
like
get
normal diseases.
on a plane, for instance, that means an
Mhm.
infected person would have had to be there, which
Mhm. Right.
means they would infect. So immediately my first thought was like, that doesn't make any sense. But I had to let it
Mhm.
go. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'll just let it go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But think
Mhm.
like shipping, right? Like that all happens on
Right.
boats. So like if rats can get it and the rats get on the boats and
True.
the boats carry the food and the grain and the
Right.
clothes.
But I guess I just thought like it would
Yeah.
infect the person driving the boat and then you're incapacitated. You
Can't
couldn't
drive the boat.
you couldn't successfully then drive the boat
Yeah.
where it's supposed to go.
I feel the same.
Yeah.
So, and that will later come up. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
but that was like my first thought was, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Because I really do try in horror movies, like when you need, like I try to let it go. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm just gonna try to believe what they're
Mhm.
selling me. But sometimes
Yeah.
they make that hard.
I mean, yeah. We
My
did
teeth
just
are
have a
so green.
pandemic. It's pretty easy to
I mean,
spread
this
disease
wasn't as
across the
bad as the
world.
substance. That was so much more disbelieving. So
Mhm.
Oh
like,
God, yeah.
this was better,
Yeah.
you know?
I can to me that made sense. It was like, of
Right.
course it is. We live in a global economy.
Right.
Like
See, I feel like it
get
didn't
the
because
rats on the boat.
Mhm.
The boat doesn't have to kill the
Right.
captain, but they're gonna be on the boat. So when they're offloading,
Mhm.
it's like
Then they're gonna get
it's like how bananas like have tarantulas when you
right.
order them. Like it's like
Yes.
animals come in our food
Mhm.
and
Yep.
stuff, and this is all coming across the sea. And
But this will come up later. So
yeah,
we'll get there.
that part I believed.
Yep. But yeah, it was
so
just
then we're
it was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then like
Right.
he hid the fact that he killed the kid. They were like, is something wrong? And he was like, nope, I'm fine.
Nope.
Mhm.
Like he didn't tell them what had happened.
Yeah.
And then they also park their cab
Oh my
right
God.
far away from the gas truck that they are siphoning from.
Yeah.
And so, like, why? Just park next to it so you're right
So you
there.
can
I'd
fill
To
it
fill it
up.
up as well. Like,
And
Yeah.
then they let the 12-year-old girl drive the car who clearly doesn't know how to drive. She's almost not going to put on the brakes.
Yeah.
and like run into the car. It all was really dumb decisions.
And then she pulls this like crazy move to
Again,
just like
Grand
drift.
Theft Auto.
Yeah, freaking drift the car
Mhm.
right into a place where it's like I was like, where did that come from?
What are you doing?
Why is she drifting? And like I feel like even the little outfit she's wearing, she has like the
Yes.
baseball cap and the zipped up
No,
jacket. where I
it was
like,
this whole thing.
is she like a professional driver all of a sudden?
Apparently.
Like what?
Mhm.
Apparently.
Yep.
But yeah, so I said this a second ago, but look how teeth or green my teeth are.
Well, you know what's funny? It actually doesn't really look like that. It almost
doesn't?
just looks like you have like glowing white teeth because they're
Oh,
really. It almost feels like they're like
honestly,
glowing a
my
little.
glowing green teeth.
nice
Yeah.
glowing.
But
Okay,
then they
but then-
go on the
then we
cute
get to the
picnic,
field.
and then they get the gas, and then they get
Then they get to the fields.
Yeah.
to the thing.
They have their cute little picnic, and then this is when I wrote, "Ooh, there's love blooming,"
Mm-hmm.
because Killian and Selena are, what is his name? Jim and Selena
Jim
are
and Selena,
falling in
yeah.
love.
And Selena's
And
like,
then-
yeah, life is worth living.
Like literally though, I was like, for all they know, because they think that the virus has spread to all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is literally the last person on earth.
Yeah.
Like
Those
I mean,
standards are pretty low.
I guess desperate times call for desperate measures, but I'm like, can you really think that it's love at that point? Because he's just like the only other than
Yeah,
the
there might be some trauma bonding
Yes, for sure.
happening.
dad.
Well, and again, I was like, who is this actress? And then I thought of it. She was the actress in the James Bond movies. She was Moneypenny, and she's so good in it. Like the new ones with Daniel Craig. Oh, so that's who she is.
Mhm.
She's very good in that role.
I liked her in this one too.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But then again, back to stupid decisions. Okay, we may at any point need to run for our lives and fight for our lives and whatever. Let's just take some Valium
Take some Valium.
in an open field
Yep.
so that we'll just be passed out when the zombies come. Like, come on.
Well, but the dad didn't take it. He
Yeah.
Well, right, but like, what
Yeah.
if they had been under attack? They'd be so
Well,
like gorked
then-
out. And so then
God,
the
guys,
daughter
wake
wanted
up.
some, and the dad finally like agreed to let the daughter
just
have like
the little
half of one,
Valium.
And then we see Jim has, well, so he wakes up and he's alone in a
Mhm.
field.
Yeah.
What else happens? Oh, and he's screaming, "Hello!"
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then he wakes up.
Mm-hmm. Because he gets woken up. He's like, "You're
He gets
good,
woken
you're
up.
Just
So
dreaming."
Yeah, it's
he
the
does
dad.
have a dream, which normally I wouldn't bring that up because it's not that interesting. But obviously, I'm going to talk about a dream.
Yeah. Do we have some dream analysis?
Yeah, it's not a very good one because it's a short dream.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, should I do
mean,
that now? Or
It's
should I
pretty
wait for psych?
obvious,
Mhm.
but yes, go for it.
Okay, hold on. I got to turn on my computer where I wrote my
Yeah.
notes.
Oh, and then when he because he doesn't like fully wake him up. He's kind of like, "You're dreaming." Like,
Yeah,
go back.
he's
to
like
he,
he's
like-
such a dad about it.
Yeah, but then he's like, "Thanks, Dad," or like,
I
"Okay,
know.
Dad."
Yeah, Jim calls him dad.
Yeah.
So
So cute.
I busted out books for this episode.
Nice.
So for this
Multiple?
dream analysis, landscapes are usually more about how you are feeling, not about the actual landscapes. Like landscapes in themselves, like whether you're in a mountain or on a cliff or in a field, they don't really mean much on their own. It's kind of how you feel in them. And so sometimes a field could be like really boring to people, kind of showing that there's a lack of excitement in their life. But in Jim's case, because he's alone in a field and screaming out for other people, it's really just the isolation of his situation right now is really getting to him. The fact that he's realizing like this is real. We are alone.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's the end of my
Sounds like a
dream
good.
analysis.
No, that's I mean, it was.
That's fair.
We only got a tiny glimpse of.
Yeah, I
the
mean
dream.
it was a pretty straightforward dream,
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
So they get to Manchester
Yep.
and there's no one there.
It's on fire.
Yes. Like all of Manchester is on fire. Like,
Yeah.
well, and again, this was one of those moments where I was like, am I losing it? Because they were talking about it and they weren't showing us what they were seeing. Like,
Oh
so
my god,
it
it
took
took them
like 30
so
seconds
long to
to show
pan.
us what they were looking at.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't understand what's
It
happening.
was just the road.
Yeah,
And they're like panning up on the road, but they were panning
so
for so long.
it
slow.
was so slowly.
It was so weird. Like,
Yeah,
but yes, Manchester is on fire.
yeah.
Yes.
Which, like, at that point, it's like, do you wanna go there?
Goodbye.
There were signs,
Move
you
on.
know? There were
Well, so
signs.
then because of that, this is when I wrote down sad Frank. So that must be the
Yeah.
dad, or the dad's name is Frank.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
this was so
Maybe?
sad.
'Cause
But I
he was
will
just
say
sad.
it was cool.
It was
Like,
cool.
it
Mhm.
was a cool moment because now this was when they were like at the army barracks, right? Like in front
Mhm.
of the army, whatever you call that, their depot where
Yeah.
they were.
Mhm.
And there were just some bodies hanging from like power lines and stuff. And
Yeah.
Frank was like underneath and he was looking up and there was a crow that was eating one of the zombies. And then
Mhm.
the crow goes to fly off and a blood drop falls and lands directly in Frank's eye. That was a cool shot. I liked that.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And then like he just starts panicking and his daughter's like, "Dad, what's wrong?" And he's like,
Mhm.
"Get away from me." And he's like violently screaming at her and pushing her away to be like, "Get away from me." And they, the Selena and Jim catch on and
Mhm.
they're all like, "We got to kill him." But then
Yeah.
all of a sudden his back gets shot up from guns.
Mhm.
And
Like an
we see these
excessive
soldiers.
amount.
Yes, like a
Mhm.
50
Yeah. Just like you guys aren't like
gunshots.
limited on bullets at
Right.
all here. Like
I know. I thought the same
No.
thing later on.
Mhm.
Like,
I
and yeah,
have
like
some theories as to why.
these
Mhm.
soldiers pop up
Yeah.
and we see that, like, oh, it's not abandoned because that's what they had thought at first. Like, they
Mhm.
actually are there.
Yeah.
And then the captain or whatever comes out and he's
Yeah.
like, "Welcome. Come on."
Yeah.
And he's explaining, like, we're not just trying to survive, we're trying to rebuild civilization.
Yeah.
And this is when I wrote down, I'm getting some real rapey vibes. Like,
No,
I just
the
I
vibe
was like,
was
"Get the fuck out."
trigger
Immediately.
warning for sexual assault
Oh,
yes.
subject, by the way.
yeah.
But you could just sense like these
Mhm.
guys
Because the
aren't
language
nice.
they were using and the way that he was talking about it,
Mhm.
like he
Mhm.
just immediately sounded like he was only looking at them as like resources for their own needs
Yeah.
and uses.
Mhm.
But he's like also giving them a tour, and then he's showing them they have this one um zombie on a chain. His name is Mailer, and
Mm.
they like have him out in this like weird strange little courtyard, but then
Yeah,
he's
like
like
where the
got a
laundry
chain.
lines are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like, he's like talking about how he's like trying to like, teach him and like learn from him. And it's like you're just
Mhm.
torturing this poor zombie who, yes, is given the chance would kill you, but also you can kind of a little bit in his eyes see the humanity.
Mhm.
Mhm.
He's just like chained up and like wanting this to be over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so like you can just tell like they're just torturing and just
Right. And I
not
will
good.
say, I actually understand the purpose because, like, this was one of their soldiers.
Yeah. No, it's like you gotta understand
You got to
them.
understand, like, how
Mhm.
long will they live? What
No,
do they need to survive? But the way that they
the
had
way.
him,
Mhm.
That's
right?
the
It
thing.
wasn't like he was in the basement confined to a room.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah.
that they had him out in this yard where they went and like poked at him
And they got
Mhm.
joy from his
exactly. Like
torment.
it,
Oh,
so it
for
wasn't
sure.
what they were doing necessarily. It was how they were doing it.
It's
That was
not what you
like,
100%.
say, it's how you say it.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the vibe was rough in this place. It was like, okay, yeah,
Mhm.
this is not salvation.
No.
So then they have a dinner. They all sit down
Mhm.
Yeah.
at their dinner, and the one cook made bad eggs,
Yeah.
and it's disgusting. That
Mhm.
just like grossed me out.
Mhm.
And again, just the way that they're all acting, like all of the soldiers seem like a little insane.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
there's they just all seem like something is a little amiss,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
the captain is really trying to like keep them
Yeah.
together in front of the new people.
Also, it's like, okay, I know it's been a rough 28 days, But it's been 28
That's-
days.
That was my point.
Like, yes, exactly. You're just going
It's-
to rebuild civilization after 28 days?
Yeah. And also, like, how are they this messed up?
And like what, you know,
Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
we're about to get to the fact that like they need to have sex. And it's
Yeah.
like, what, 30 days?
Like,
Like,
28 days.
Like,
yeah.
oh,
And
sorry, you're
this
right.
is-
28 days.
This
Like,
is not
yeah.
just 28 days of like, you know, so maybe you're used to having sex like, you know, every other day or whatever. This is
Mhm.
not just like a normal 28 days.
Right.
This is 28 days of like fighting for your life to survive.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
The timeline did not make sense for their behavior.
Maybe
and
28
actions.
months.
Yes.
28
exactly.
years.
Well, you know
Yes.
what? The psych analysis might
Mhm.
provide some insight into what is going on.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, the way that Jim learns about it is talking to what's their like leader's name? The like clearly the guy in charge.
Yeah, it's like the captain or
yeah,
whatever you call him.
Whatever he would be. And like
Right.
he's
The
talking
sergeant.
about how sergeant maybe.
Yeah.
It's like he's talking about how they did the radio message because they wanted women. Like that's
Yes,
what he's
and
saying,
then
like,
you're
I
like, oh.
promised them women.
I promised them women. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're kind of like, you can either join us
Mm-hmm.
or
We'll kill you.
not join us, you know?
And it doesn't take him long to be like,
No. To be
no,
like, absolutely not.
And
Yeah.
so like they
Yep.
go on, two soldiers take him
Yep.
to like
Yeah.
go kill him.
Well, so
Yeah,
they chain him up and they put him in prison.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. They do that first.
But
yeah.
there's another dude down there with him.
Because
Right.
there's one other semi-sane
Who was
guy.
like,
And he's
can't
the
believe
one
this
that
is
points
happening.
out.
Mhm.
He was like, dude, they say that it's in New York and Paris as well. It can't cross oceans. He's like, we're
Mhm.
not at the end of the world. We're in
because he says there's planes flying over.
Yeah, this guy also says he just says there's like no virus, where it's like, well,
Right.
like there is.
Right.
there is a virus. Yeah.
But he's saying there's no virus outside. He was like, there
Yeah.
are planes flying above. Like,
Mhm.
I think it's us. They quarantined us
Mhm.
Oh,
to this
100%.
island.
Yeah.
Like, and
Mhm.
that's when Jim is like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, and that
Mhm.
was when I was like, oh, thank you. Okay.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
there we go.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Like,
Mhm.
but you can tell because he's also making a point that like they are irrationally trying to restart the world. They're just trying to like have this
Yeah.
disgusting lair where they
Mhm.
abuse
Yeah.
people is
Mhm.
Yeah.
is what they're trying to do actually.
Mhm.
Right.
Like, yeah.
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 Mhm.
So then a couple of them take Jim and the other dude, and they're just going to take him out. And there's like a section of the woods where there's a bunch of piles of bodies, and they're going to take him out and shoot
Yeah,
him.
their murder pit. It's like, wait,
Yep, their
where did
murder
all these
pit.
other bodies come from?
Right.
Then?
And there were women in there.
Yeah.
Maybe those women were too much of a
No
fight.
use to them anymore.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as we're seeing that, we're also seeing that like they've now taken the two girls,
Uh-huh.
Selena and the
Yeah.
daughter, and they're
Mhm.
like, okay, you guys need to get ready because like you need to look nice. So they like
Ew.
they like are forcing them to get dressed.
Yeah, like I had not seen this movie before,
Mhm.
and so I thought it was going to be a zombie movie,
Right.
like your typical zombie movie. And like as soon as that like happened, like I feel like I had to like
Mhm.
pause just to be like this is a lot darker than I thought.
No, me too.
No,
I
like
had the same thing.
that one, like it took me a minute to be like, I just
Mhm.
this
Yeah,
this is
darkest part of the whole
going this is going a way that like I didn't expect
Anticipate.
or like know
Mhm.
about, and like it's just so much darker.
Well, because we're like,
Yeah.
so we're kind of seeing some things of Jim that's happening, but then they're having to pick out their clothes that they're about to be assaulted in. And of course,
Yeah.
they're both red dresses, and they make them dress up. And then sweet Selena, because is it that she used to be a pharmacist?
Yeah, she
Or a
like
chemist, I
studied.
think,
She
yeah.
studied like chemistry, like some
Yeah.
sort of. Yeah.
So
She has a
she
background.
gives the girl, who I didn't write down her name.
And it's so sad because the
water.
girl is like,
Hannah?
will this make me sleep? And she's like, no, it'll make you not care. And it's like,
Yeah.
At that moment, I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore.
I know.
No,
Because she's young.
She's
like,
so young. She's
yeah.
like 12.
maybe she's like 12, 13. I don't
12 to
know.
14. Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe 14. Yeah. But
yeah.
it's just so gross.
Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah,
And then
no,
they
it's
they bust in and catch them doing that, and then go and take them. And then at the same time we go back, and then we've got that scene with Jim happening.
Mhm. Yeah. So there's the other guy that came with him and the two soldiers. And one of the soldiers is like a bigger dick than the other one. And he's
Mhm.
like, I want you to die slowly. Like he wants to stab the other guy.
Yes.
Which is like, again, how did you get so bad I mean, they were always assholes. Is what
I'll
I
explain
mean,
it.
the idea that a soldier is not maybe a great person.
I
What
will explain it.
Okay.
a concept.
And the other guy, trying to be a slightly better, horrible person, shoots him.
Mhm.
Like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to let you
Yeah, you're
die
done.
slowly. I'll shoot him. And that's when Jim escapes.
Yes. Because then they start fighting, the two bad
Mhm.
guys.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But when Jim escapes, he like climbs over this fence and like ends up like kind of losing his shirt. And then he sees planes flying
Mhm.
above. So he
Mhm.
has confirmation that
The
there
world
are
is
people.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I feel like I'm beginning to be known as the one with all the grievances. I'm comfortable with this title, but here is my biggest grievance.
Yes.
The scenes that ensue try to tell us that this man that was in a coma
No,
for who knows how long and couldn't walk
without his head hurting.
in 2 days becomes a full-on
He's fucking
soldier.
Rambo.
Like he is,
like-
yes, thank you. He's a
He's
Rambo.
like a samurai ninja.
Like he does
Rambo.
these things where he like jumps through roofs and windows, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
And no, watching it, it was like,
I'm getting him any water in the whole journey that he's been on, and this is what they try to convince us of.
We literally see him get a headache walking upstairs.
It made me so mad.
You're not alone, because what I wrote down was, okay, so now the mail courier is a better assassin than the military men?
Yes. Because, so what ensues is we had seen the scene with the girls back at the mansion, and Jim had gone back to the like entry point where they had some sort of like siren warning alarm. I don't know what.
Oh
something
yes,
that
it was
he
when
like,
the zombies came. They had a thing.
So he had like a loud alarm that he turned on. So
Yes.
that makes the guys in the mansion stop and go see what's happening. And I think two of them go, right? It's like the guy in charge and one other guy. And like they show up, and it's like he's like it's like a freaking like we see him like rush across the camera, like ducking in corners. Like not only does he kill the first guy, he's somehow has the strength and time to put him back in the car.
Yes.
Like he's now propped the
Can
body.
carry an entire man.
No, it's amazing. It's
Couldn't
amazing.
walk upstairs, but
What
can
his love
deadlift a man.
Yeah. His love for Selena has overcome all obstacles.
Yeah. Oh my god. So
he also then sets the chained zombie loose.
Yeah, so they get back to the mansion somehow. Walk there, drive there. And they get back. Yeah, shoots the chain, and then we see the like soldiers kind of one by one react to what's happening.
Because they were all in a room with Selena and the young girl, and he sets him free. And so Selena goes into like action and gets the girl, and
I do love that before like the action fully breaks out. Like this is just like they left. I love that Hannah is just like they're probably all dead.
Yes,
like they probably
she's just
died.
shit talking.
Like she's just shit talking.
No, it was amazing.
She's like, I think it's kicking in. They're all dead.
Like they're all dead.
I did like that scene.
Me too.
She's just vibing. She's
she was.
No,
I love those pills.
I love just shit talking.
Yep.
Just a child shit talking your captors.
You're literally all gonna die.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So at one point, then Jim ends up stabbing one of them, which was a cool scene.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then so I wrote down Jim stabs one, the girls are running,
Mhm.
he pounds one's head into the wall,
Mhm.
fingers into the eyes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel like
Oh,
that's like the final one, right? So
Okay.
like this is when we get Jim. Like, I mean, that's like him full rage mode is what I'm assuming they were going for, right? Because then the one asshole like takes Selena into the room being
yes.
like just an awful person who's like,
Mhm.
this is what I'm thinking about in this time.
Mhm.
Yes.
And Jim is like watching through like a skylight or something.
Yes.
So he's like watching them. And then he like jumps in again like Rambo and like bashes his head against the wall and then pushes him onto like the floor and then just thumbs in the eye. Like it was that was the craziest death
I
I think
agree.
we saw in the movie. Like that was the most
'Cause, like,
That
my
was upsetting.
tolerance is pretty high for gore. Like, I like gore. I really
Mhm.
do. I can watch a lot, and that fucking grossed me out so bad that I
Ugh.
wanted to die because the sound that
Yeah.
accompanied it was like,
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
But then we get a sweet moment because he's like covered in blood, like, and Selena just knows, she hesitates.
Mhm.
She has the knife, but she pauses. She doesn't kill him.
Would you call that a sweet moment?
Yeah,
Their
because she
blood
said
kiss,
she would kill him
she instantly.
without considering it.
And then they
That's
had a blood
true.
kiss where they were kissing other
Yeah,
people's
because then he
blood.
was like, "That was more than a heartbeat." Because she
Mhm.
was like, "I'll kill you in a heartbeat if I know that you got infected." He was like,
I
"That
was
was
just
more than a
thinking,
heartbeat."
I don't wanna kiss someone with other people's blood all over their
No,
face.
you're in the
Yeah,
moment, you know? You gotta like,
for again, something that we know is transferred via blood and
Mhm.
saliva
right.
contact. They have a very laissez-faire,
Agreed.
willy-nilly approach.
Well, and
Like,
here was
why is everyone masked up? Like
yes,
cleaning. We need yeah.
and here
Agreed.
was my issue with it. It wasn't so much even like that they're kissing without confirmation of the zombie fluids. They're making out, and I'm like, "But what they don't know where Hannah is.
Right.
They don't know what's
Yeah.
going on with her. You can make out after you find your
Yeah.
girl,
Yeah.
Right.
Like let's close this out
Let's
first.
move this forward. Let's get
nice
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
people."
Well, don't worry because Hannah shows up
She sure does.
thinking that he is now a zombie. Just like
Right.
whacks him in the head with like a vase, a
Yes, I
bottle,
think it was a vase.
something,
Yeah.
glass.
Yep.
And it's like, oh lol.
And then, Selena's like, no, he's okay.
He's
Because
fine.
she thought he was attacking Selena, not kissing
Mhm.
Selena.
Right.
Mhm.
But then they escape. They get in the car.
Well, and in the car,
Yeah.
they find the guy in
Yep.
charge.
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
they're
the
like, let's go.
captain.
And then he's in there.
Mhm.
And then we get Hannah's Grand Theft Auto
Uh-huh.
again.
Yep.
Because she whips that car around, goes in reverse, and we get, what was his name? It started with an M. The zombie guy.
Oh,
Oh,
Mailer?
Yeah.
Mailer.
Yeah.
Mailer busts in through the back window. And like
Yes. And pulls him out.
because again, she somehow just planned this.
No, it was amazing. And then they get out.
But before all that happens, before he dies, he shoots Jim.
Oh shit, that's
Right.
right.
So they're like, "We gotta go, we gotta go."
That's right.
And so as they're going to escape, like he's been shot, so they realize like they really need to get out of there as fast as possible.
Mhm.
So I just love that then the gate is locked. But Hannah's just got to keep driving. So she just
Yep.
crashes through the gate, and then we just get this freeze frame. Like
Yeah.
it's like I don't even think that's 2002. I think that's like 1992.
Yeah, I don't know
So
what that
funny.
is, but it was very
This would be
dramatic.
so random. Like it's so random.
Yeah, it was pretty cheesy.
But then we see them through all these like flashes of hospital scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And like we see that like Jim is kind of being bandaged and taken care of and whatever.
Yeah.
And then another kind of little not title screen, but something of 28 days later.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right. Lots
he
of
wakes
28
up.
days.
Then they're in a cute little cottage together. They're a sweet little family.
Yeah,
Which
they're
is
just
where
a
they
little
all
family.
should have gone at the beginning.
Mhm.
Grocery store.
Agreed.
cottage in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
That's all they needed to do.
Agreed.
But yeah, they're all living there now.
No, they're so cute. We see Selena at the sewing machine because Jim wakes up and it's really bright, and he's like, "Not the curtains." And we're like, "What?" And then he goes out, and Selena's making something,
like sewing something
on the sewing machine
with like the curtains
with the
and also pieces
the
of
dress.
that dress that she
of the
has.
dress.
Yeah.
And then Hannah runs in, and she's like, "They're here. It's time. I can hear it."
Yeah.
And so they like gather it all together, and they run out. And they have this huge sign. And what did it say SOS or
no?
Hello.
It said hello.
Oh,
which
that's
is
right.
such a long word.
Like say SOS.
Help.
SOS.
Like they could have finished a full
Right.
letter earlier. SOS, even shorter.
Right.
No.
Like hello. What?
Yeah. No, you're right. That was weird.
Hello.
Or they're in England. It could have been hello.
Yeah, they could have at
Yeah,
least
take the
dropped
H off, you
H.
know?
Like they're over
Cut
here
out.
pulling down the curtains. You didn't need that much.
Right.
No. Yeah. No, it's so stupid.
And then we hear a plane,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like all standing there waving,
Mm-hmm.
and we see the plane fly over.
And we like hear the plane say something. Like I think we get like they saw them.
Yep. And that's it.
Yeah. I didn't watch the credits. I just realized.
We did. We fast forwarded through.
Okay. Is there?
No.
Okay.
There was nothing.
Okay, cool.
There was nothing.
Yeah.
And that's it.
There we go.
28 days later.
28 days later, there we are.
Interesting. I feel like there's a few ways you could go with this, Laura, so I'm interested to see what you've got planned for us. But just remember, she is not a real doctor, but it's okay because this is a fictional movie.
Yeah.
They are not real zombies because they weren't even zombies anyways.
Or were they?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a zombie.
Right?
Is she a doctor? Isn't she? No, she's not. The answer is no.
She's not.
She's not. Answer that real quick.
This is also not a real psych segment this week.
Okay, let's do it.
I did the dream analysis, but we're going to drift a little bit more toward philosophy tonight, but I did also bust out, which I've done a couple times here and there, but more in our earlier episodes, social psychology textbook.
Oh,
Nice.
yes.
What year is that bad boy from, Laura?
Oh my gosh, let me tell you.
Or even just in your life, where did that come from?
Oh, so this was early on in my grad program. So this would have been maybe 2010.
Nice.
Do you want me to tell you the actual?
I do. I hope it's from 2002. That would be amazing.
Yes. Do you think kids even know how to like find a copyright date in a book anymore?
You don't need that information.
No, I don't, Laura.
2005. So this is 20 years old.
Okay.
Damn.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's accurate then. We're on theme.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that I'm going to use when we talk about more of the psychology of being in a group. But first we're going to talk about some philosophy theories. Sounds like you both agree with me that the scariest part of the movie, it was not the infected. It was the military,
human nature
and human nature.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to focus on is human nature. So there are 4 different either social psychologists or philosophers, I'm not sure what we want to call them, social theorists, I guess, that have different perspectives on kind of what drives human nature when it comes to like kind of themes of this movie. Like when your society and government and rules is taken away from you. So one is Hobbes, and I didn't write down first names or years, but they're old dudes.
Yeah.
Basically.
Fine.
So one is Hobbes, and he kind of proposes that people are inherently selfish. Like we're just all selfish, brutal, terrible people. And so we need a society. We need a functioning society to kind of keep us in line. So he says that like we have to have these social contracts, like these things that we kind of agree to and these rules so that and that the government and like higher up kind of like kings or presidents or whatever hold us to, because otherwise we're just going to devolve into like kill each other and die early in chaos.
Hmm. And
So
we do
like,
get that scene like pretty early with
yeah,
Jim, and he's like, they're talking about how there is no government. He's like, what do you mean there's no government? There's
what do you mean
always
there's no
government. Like
right,
and they're like, no, like there's nothing.
right, right. So that's kind of one view you could
Hmm.
take. The next is, and also I think we've talked about this on the podcast before too, but um, I know Brianna has. Ivette, have you also seen Lost? We talked
Yes.
about Lost. So I also love that some of these social contract theorists are definitely characters' names in Lost.
Nice.
Oh, they're not subtle.
No, they're not subtle. I mean, the one guy's name isn't even, not even a different first name. His name is John Locke, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Um,
I mean, one of the characters is named Christian Shepherd.
yes, yes, absolutely. Mhm.
They're not subtle.
No, they're not subtle. So, Rousseau, another
Hmm.
character in Lost, is another person, and he was saying that kind of the opposite of Hobbes. He was saying that people are innately good. We're generally going to be good people, we're going to be cooperative, and we're going to be peaceful. But it's society. It's like living in these social rules and regulations and systems. That's
Hmm.
what corrupts us.
Hmm.
We were all fine until all of a sudden people started getting private property and social structures, and then that leads to greed and corruption and bad behavior. So it's kind of like his version would be like society is going to be better once
Hmm.
government and like structures taken away.
Hmm.
So then we have Locke, and he was saying that people, even if you don't have like this very kind of structured government society system, people are kind of going to know what they need, and they're going to enter into like they know like the basic rights of life, liberty, and property. We're going to figure it out for ourselves, and we can kind of regulate that ourselves. And just government can kind of just lightly like uphold it. We don't need like super a lot of control. And then Kant, so now I feel like I'm talking about like the good place, getting into Immanuel
Yes.
Kant. He
Yeah.
was saying that people are really generally responsible for their own actions, and they can choose to follow the laws that they make for themselves. So kind of a little bit more like the Locke perspective.
I will
Yeah.
stand by the fact that Chidi is the best philosopher of our
Absolutely.
time, hands down.
It's so good. If
Absolutely.
you like philosophy, the person that made A Good Place wrote a book that's actually pretty good. It's like an intro to philosophy because it's like he had to do so much research for the
Right.
show that he
Hmm.
like had all, so it's like, it's a good like it's a very like intro, like kind of funny way to do it. It's a fun book.
Yeah.
It's called How to Be Perfect,
Okay.
where
I'm gonna
he
write that
like
down.
goes through like what the research that he did for the show and like breaks down philosophy in like a very like understandable way.
Yeah.
I
It's a
love
good one.
that.
Hmm.
Ooh, I want to
Yeah.
read that.
Hmm.
I want to read that. So that's just kind of some philosophical structures that you could kind of try to understand this movie. I'm curious, what do you all think? Do you think either people are generally good and society corrupts us, people are generally bad and we need society to kind of keep us in line, or people can kind of figure it out for themselves with or without these firm social structures?
Honestly, it's so hard because like, have you ever watched like a child just exist where it's like, oh, see, we are good, and then you see another child, and it's like, no, we are bad, you know?
No, exactly.
Like it's hard to
It's
call it.
hard because
Hmm.
the truth is like we all probably know people that are just good.
Hmm.
And then we all know people that are just bad.
Hmm.
devil and angel
Yeah,
pair over
and
here, Laura,
nature versus nurture,
Yep.
and what
And
part
so
does
it's like, I
society
don't know.
take
I
in
don't
that?
think it is one way or the other, but I also don't think that we can figure it out on our own. So, like, I don't think it's any of those. I'm saying no to all. It's none.
None of the above.
We are just dumpster fires in a human form.
Yeah.
I don't
Mhm.
know.
I feel like I'm kind of like a Locke or a Kant girl myself, where I feel like
Yeah.
whether we have these like strong social oppressive structures to guide us, or we have no rules or regulations at all, I think it
Mhm.
kind of all is going to end up, humans are going to be able to know what they need and work toward getting that on their own. Whether
Yeah.
you're, at one end of the spectrum, the other, or in the middle, it's, I feel like there's good and bad.
Yeah.
I just don't think I have that faith in humanity. I just think,
Oh, I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's going to work out for the best. We're
well,
still going to
right.
be a dumpster fire,
Yeah.
but we're
Yeah.
going to be able to figure out how to be a
Yeah.
dumpster fire
But
all
I
on our own.
don't think it's one way or another. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not philosophers
So
here.
we're not philosophers.
We are not.
We never said we were.
No.
Okay, and now we're going to get into social psychology.
Hmm.
Nice.
But first, my mouth is green and I need a drink of water.
I know. I didn't think about the greenness.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Although I almost bought the wrong creme de menthe because there's a clear one. And I just like went with the first one. And the cashier was like, wait, you said you were making grasshoppers. Like, don't you want it to be green? I was like, wait, yeah, give me the other one.
Maybe
Shout out to that cashier
Yeah.
at the store. Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe
Also, I
because
like that they had two. I was because I just it's a tiny liquor store that's by me. So I was just like, "Do you have any creme de menthe?" And he was like, "Yes, I have this one that's $12 and this one that's $50." I was
Oh.
like, "I will take your cheapest bottle."
Sold.
oh gosh, yeah, it's all just sugary green alcohol.
Yeah, I was like, "I think
Yeah.
for me,
I don't even know what like a good one would taste
right?
differently. I don't
Probably
know. I guess
not.
I'd have to
It's
try
gonna
it, but I can't
yeah, it's
imagine
gonna
it's
taste like
really that much
mouthwash
better.
no matter what, right?
Right.
I don't know.
So let's talk about the psychology of being in a group. And again, I'm focusing not on the infected, not even on the survivors, because we've talked about a lot of psychology of survivors. We're going to talk
Right.
about these fucking awful military men that I
Right.
just several times in my notes was like, these men are the worst.
They were the real villains.
They were the real
Like
villains.
100%.
So there is this, and I'm just like, I literally read the whole chapter on like
Oh my
group
gosh,
psychology.
yes.
It was actually really fun. So there's this concept of social facilitation, and this is kind of saying that there's a process where when you're in, and I guess this is actually not talking about the men. So first I'm going to talk about the survivors. This is talking about when you're in the presence of others, it changes how you perform on certain tasks. So this is why I kind of feel like Selena or other survivors may or may not want other people around them. And so it's in the social facilitation that happens when you're near other people. If you're performing simple tasks, your performance improves. If you're around other people and you're performing difficult tasks, your performance worsens.
I can attest to that personally. Yes.
And
Yeah. It's like
this
when you have to type
Mhm.
in front of another person. It's
Yes.
I
you
forget that
lose all
skill.
brain cells.
Yes.
They're
Yeah,
gone.
I'm like, oh God.
They're all
And this,
gone.
yes, because this is even if you just know that someone is around, even if they're not directly affecting you. So even if it's not like, Selena was running with Jim and so she had to like slow to him. It's just even if she knows that he's seeing her run.
Yeah.
And this is because when you know others are around, it triggers this dominant response in you. And so a dominant response would be with any task that you're faced with, the dominant response is the one that is naturally the quickest and easiest to do. So being around someone else triggers that response to happen first. So when the task is easy, generally the thing that is the quickest and easiest to do, that is going to be successful because it's an easy task. But if you're in a difficult task or faced with like a really complicated situation on having to, run away from the infected people, um, the quickest and easiest thing to do might not be that dominant response. So having others with you might affect you.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of why I think she had the stance that she had.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get to the military men.
Mm-hmm.
So a few kind of concepts of this. One is a thing called group polarization. Do we ever know what that is? So this talks about when you're in a group of people, and typically groups of people are formed if you have things in common, like, you're all military guys in a zombie apocalypse or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But as your group discusses things, because you all happen to have like some things that are similar, and you're trying to make decisions in that group, you're going to tend to lean toward the more of the exaggeration of things. So like maybe my theory on this is all of these men were scummy, sexist assholes to begin with. But then as they got together and they're talking about things and they're talking about needing women, all of them went from just being like jerks to like sexual assaulters.
Mm-hmm.
So like it made them each lean into the more exaggerated version of their worst side of their personality.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So that's how I
Mhm.
think they got kind of to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There's also something called well, de-individuation.
Oh.
Say that after two grasshoppers.
Uh-huh.
And this has to do with a loss of a person's sense of individuality, and it reduces the normal constraints against deviant behavior. So like normally you are kind of inhibited against doing those things that people say that's bad to do. But then when you have this de-individuation, yep.
Yeah, that sounded good. That sounded good.
When you have this de-individuation, you're like part of this group, you can, those like inhibitions can kind of go away. Some ways that happens is through like reduced accountability. So especially being part of this group, especially a group where society doesn't exist anymore, really, the rules, the government,
Mm-hmm.
if you're less likely to be caught doing something that is gratifying, but that is normally against the rules, you're probably going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So in my 2005 textbook, it talks about this study where they posed this question to a bunch of college students, and it gave them no prompts other than, if you were truly invisible for 24 hours, what would you do? The majority of people, this is not even just a significant amount of people, but most of the people, the thing they identified was criminal.
I saw that. I've seen that
Like
before.
most people would do
yeah.
something criminal.
Or like especially like if they interview men, like it's a lot of it is sexual assault.
Well, and the one that like this my book refers to is like typically they're saying like rob a bank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. That's where my mind went.
But like if you're
Step
truly
one, rob a bank.
like if you're
Right.
truly invisible, you cannot get caught. Most people are gonna say, "Okay, I'm gonna do something criminal,
I'm gonna go do a little bit of a crime.
a little crime," which made me think like if I was truly invisible for 24 hours, what would I do?
Mm.
Would I do something criminal? I don't know. Now that I've done so much reading on this, I feel like I can't like objectively answer this question for myself.
If
Yeah,
I
I
got
had to
no
think about
warning, I would spend 24 hours stressing about what I should be doing.
Yes.
Because I'm an anxious person.
Excellent.
Oh God. Okay, what should I be doing? And then I'd spend 20 hours stressing and then the next 48 hours being like, damn, I really should have done more.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. Like I would
Yeah.
really have to think about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I would maybe do something a little criminal, like, I don't know, stealing something.
Right.
Yeah. You
Maybe
definitely
that
have
makes
to
me a bad
like
person.
mess with people in like a kind of funny way. Like take their hat
Yes.
off.
Yeah,
You
like I
know?
might scare Laura. Like I would go
Yeah.
scare Laura.
Yes, be a
Like
ghost.
I'd be a
Mhm.
ghost. That's what I think I would
Yes.
do. It's just
I would
Yes.
maybe kind of like also want to eavesdrop a little bit and just like hear some
Oh,
things that people say.
all the tea.
I think like my
Absolutely.
anxiety would keep me from that because I'm like, but what if they're talking about me? Like I'll
Mm,
No,
never recover.
just like sit in a coffee shop or a bar, like
mhm,
Yes.
mhm, yeah. So anyway, I just thought like that kind of actually then goes to what is it, Hobbes, where like people are
Mhm.
just brutal, like deviant people, and without society keeping us in check, maybe we're all just gonna just
go
become
do
these
crime.
awful criminals.
But I mean, you have to
Eavesdrop.
consider that there's so much at play because, like, if we didn't live in a society where we were all like constantly stressed about money and time and our resources, like, if we lived very comfortably,
Mhm.
we probably wouldn't think to go rob a bank.
Maybe you wouldn't. Yeah,
You know
Yeah.
what
that's
I
true.
mean? Like, I think part of it you
Mhm.
also have to consider that, like,
Yeah. If
the
your needs are
society
met,
we
you
live in
know.
has a lot of shit happening and a lot of people are very disadvantaged and
Yeah.
that probably drive because that drives so much crime, right?
Yeah.
Like we
Mhm.
do what we do out of necessity usually. It's
Yeah,
usually not
that's
out of
true.
malicious intent. Yes, that sometimes happens.
Mhm.
Typically though it's out of necessity.
Yeah, that's someone
So,
like someone that has all the money they could ever want would never
right.
think to go rob a
They
bank.
would they wouldn't do anything related with getting
But
more
then but
resources.
then I'm thinking about some people in the world right now and I'm thinking, okay, but they would do something equally as terrible.
Oh yeah, they would
Like,
do
Oh,
something
they would do
shitty.
something
But it
worse.
I'm
wouldn't be for
invisible,
personal
I'm gonna
gain.
like
It would be for like their
Mhm.
own evil heart.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Another
Let's just talk about
another
all of society's problems.
Yes, here we
contributor
go.
to de-individuation is attentional cues. And so this is saying that when your attention is pulled outside of yourself for whatever reason, you are more likely to be deviant, uninhibited, and aggressive. And some ways that they've studied this, because I think, in this movie, this is happening because their attention is not on themselves. Attention is on surviving the infected.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but then in real world scenarios, that's things like even like at raves where there's like flashing lights and loud music, people's attention can't be on themselves. They're overstimulated, and when they're
Mhm.
overstimulated by things that take their attention away from themselves, they are going to act more aggressively, uninhibited, um, and deviant in some things.
Interesting. That's
Mhm.
really
So
interesting.
I
That
Yeah.
feel
makes
like
sense.
yeah. So I feel like these men, they have no accountability because no one is holding them to any rules or laws. Their attention is clearly on anything but themselves. They're also experiencing this group polarization where they're already with a group of kind of alpha, aggressive, awful people. So it's pushing them to that polarized position. And then there's also something called groupthink, which I think is a thing that like
Oh.
people know
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and
I
talk
heard of
about a
that.
lot. But so this would be things like how people can kind of get to groupthink. And that's when you have this excessive tendency to want cohesiveness among group members. So, like, you all must be alike. We all need to, assault these women. We all need to, like, torture these men, like, whatever. Um, that happens when you have a group that's highly, like, cohesive. So, these men are all kind of in this together, and they're in this very small group. Um, your structure is where you're kind of all the same. Those men all look the same. Like
Yeah, they
they,
really like I could not tell some
No,
of
they
them
do.
apart.
Mhm.
same
Yes.
vibes
Mhm.
for all of them. They're also all wearing the same uniform,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
which even just wearing a uniform, that's a whole other thing where it can
Right.
kind of make you tend to do things you wouldn't normally do if you're dressed
Mhm.
like people doing something deviant.
Yeah. I can see that. Mhm.
You have isolation. You have a directive leader, which we definitely saw. Like that guy was like, it's my way.
I mean, the
Um,
women were his idea. He
Right.
mhm,
promised them.
Right.
yes, yes. But and that you also have these unsystematic procedures. So yes, there was a lot of like the what the man says goes, and like there was a lot of kind of like mini rules within that group, but also it's only been 28 days. So things are not really well established. So
Right.
it's a little bit chaos among all that kind of rigidity.
Yes.
And you have stressful situations. So when you have all those things, those are all ingredients, which everything applies to this movie, of groupthink. And some symptoms of groupthink would be you kind of overestimate your group. So like the guy saying, we are going to repopulate the world. You are 5 men.
You're
Yeah.
5 assholes. Get
And
out
no
of
women.
here.
Yeah.
I think you're overestimating the power of your sperms.
Yeah.
Just not going to happen. When you have closed-mindedness, these dudes just wanted kind of one thing. They weren't about to hear that, maybe the women don't want to have sex with you.
They
Yeah.
also they have a radio. Like it's like you have the ability to like maybe try to see if there are other people out
Exactly.
there. Like
Yep. Another symptom is that you have this, again, is increased pressure toward uniformity. Like the one guy wanting to torture the other one, there was some conflict. The one was like, no, we're supposed to kill him. Let's just kill him. And the other one was like, no, I want to torture because I want to be like the other guy that wants to torture. Self-censorship. So you kind of cut off ideas that are not yours. Like there's a plane flying by. Maybe we don't need to repopulate the world.
Right.
And this kind of illusion that that you're immune to kind of consequences. So yeah, the consequences of having this groupthink are you're going to have really bad decision making. So like, let's kidnap these women and kill these men and things like that. That's not a good decision. And then, yeah, you're just going to have like bias on kind of information that you take in. But essentially, groupthink leads to really bad decisions, leads to these men being a-holes. And there we go.
Yep.
yeah, sounds about
That's
right.
how I think they got to this point, even just within 28 days.
No, I can totally see that.
Yeah, it's like how long? So again, it's been 28 days. Let's say we met the group. It took them 2 days to get there. It's
Right.
been 30 days.
Yeah.
How long have they been in the mansion?
Right.
Right.
Like, come on.
You know what it made me think of though? Is like Mean Girls, like in high school. Like it's a very similar, like the whole group think idea. Like, and that shit happens fast. So like I get
yeah.
that, like,
No, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially in this situation where it's kind of like an end of the world situation. It's happening faster than it's just in an accelerated pace.
Well, and it's actually almost that it helped it thrive. Like
Yeah.
the nature of it being so like feudalistic actually helped them, kind of roll into these parts easier. Like they probably got in it quicker because there was no outside anything keeping them from it.
There was no constraints. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So there's my psych on those awful men.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where I decided to go tonight.
Yep. No,
Yeah.
I think that's all very fair.
Yeah. No, they were the real monsters.
They really
So
were.
that's, yeah.
Worst part of the movie.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. No, again, I was like, I mean, I kind of figured there was something about this movie that made it so people still talked about it and liked it 20 something years later. But I was
Fucking
like,
men.
oh God, that's so much darker than I thought this was gonna like zombie chases is what I expected.
No, men.
I think it was the penis.
It
was Killian's penis.
And if that's what you want, you like only have to wait 1 minute.
Yes. Really quick.
They're quick.
Yes.
Title scene.
Yes.
Okay. I have just a few fun facts. I think I tried to mention some while we talked, but let's see. Oh, one is that the chimp who's like tied and like watching TV at the beginning, his name is Johnny.
I love him.
Did it really
found
hurt
his
him
name.
though?
No, they had like trainers and stuff, and like they, like even like the cages, like they made sure that it was,
Yeah, it was 2002, not 1902. So
yeah, I mean, I think even still, you probably couldn't do those scenes today.
No, not with real monkeys. Probably.
But it's not like what they did in The Omen.
It's not The Omen where like people were in real danger.
Yeah, that was something. That was
It's not
something.
The Omen. The hospital, from the very beginning is a real hospital, but that hospital's only open Monday through Friday. So then on the weekends, they like used it for films. So Monday through Friday, open as a real hospital. Weekends, they would open for filming, and then all the money that they made from filming went to the hospital. So
That's a
that was
good
like
Okay.
idea.
a way for the hospital to like bring in some extra money.
You know what? I like that.
Mhm.
Capitalize on what you've got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what kind of hospital. I'm assuming a kind of hospital that can
I mean, I'm guessing
close
not
on the
emergent.
weekends. Yeah,
Well, that
yeah. Some
because
of them it's like emergency
that's what
care.
I'm wondering. I'm like, okay, so what if you do a procedure on Friday, you think they're getting out, but then there's a complication? What
Yeah,
Yeah,
where
it's
does the
probably not
patient
that
go?
kind of
I'm assuming it's
hospital.
like not an emergency
Right.
hospital.
Mm,
I mean,
Right.
yeah.
that was also 20 years ago. I don't even know if that hospital's still open.
Mhm.
Right.
Um, but that's how it worked when they did it.
Yeah.
So that's how they got the empty hospital, and then to get like the empty London shots, because like I was curious. I was like,
Me
like, is
too.
this green screen? Like, how did
That's what
they?
I was wondering.
So it was actually shot in London. And so what they did was a combination of shooting like super, super early in the morning
Mm.
and then using like partial police blocks. So like where they would be
Okay.
like, okay, we can close the road for this amount of time. But like it was like
Yeah.
really short. So like the scene where the bus is flipped over, they only had like I want to say it was less than an hour
Oh my gosh.
to shoot that. Like him walking
That's a
through
lot of
the
pressure.
empty street where the bus is flipped over.
Mhm.
Um, so they had to be like in and out for all of
Yeah.
these scenes. It was like, okay, we can pause everyone, but like you have to be very quick to like get this through. So they did that, and then for the driving, where they're like driving into Manchester, we get like the big empty highway that's
Yeah.
like an actual major highway. So what they did is like they had a police barricade in the front, a police barricade in the back, and they just slowed traffic to give them
Wow.
like a window. But I
Wow.
think,
That's
yeah, so
wild.
I think they only had like I swear it was like 1 minute. Like I think they got 1 minute of
Right.
usable footage for
Them
the
to
driving
use.
scene, and then they just had to use like a ton of different cameras
Oh my
to
gosh,
like,
that's crazy.
which is maybe why we get the slowest reveal of the burning
Because
mansion.
they're like, we earned this moment. We're going to use every second of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Like I might be kind of pissed if like I was like trying to
No,
get
can you
somewhere
imagine?
and
Well, and the freeway one was shot between like 7 and 9 a.m.
Yeah, like
rush hour?
Can
work
you imagine
hours.
being late to work?
You know, though, now it would be a really good story. Like one time I was late for work because then
Yeah.
you'd have a good like party story,
That
you
well,
know?
that's a good like two truths and a lie, you
Yes,
know?
exactly.
Like, yeah. No,
Mhm.
that's a good one. Um, so along with them using, real locations, they did film in a real church for that opening scene. So they said it was really fun talking to the priest about how they were gonna paint the end is extremely fucking nice
Nice.
on their wall
That's amazing.
Extremely
for the
fucking
movie.
high.
They also had no money, and so all of the dead bodies are like college students that
Nice.
they like they jokingly in the commentary were like we probably offered them free tea or something. Like I think they offered them nothing,
You're right.
and we're like please come play
Please
a
Get to
dead
be in a
body.
movie.
help us. We're
Yeah,
poor.
Mhm.
yeah. So mostly college students. So if not that you could tell anything, but if you saw any of them
No,
move or anything, give them a
they could
break.
have just put coats and stuff and I wouldn't have even noticed.
No,
Like,
Right.
yeah.
yeah, no. Speaking of not having any money, the big explosion scene in the gas station cost 250,000 pounds.
Wow.
Okay.
So probably like 300,000 US, which today would be like
Okay.
$500,000. So like
Mhm.
it was a good, I think their budget was like 8 million. So
Wow.
that
So
was a
that's a
good
big chunk.
chunk. That was a big chunk of their budget.
Well, it was a good
It was
scene.
cool.
It was
It
a
was
So,
good
cool.
explode. No, I liked it. Like
Mhm.
you could tell it
hmm
was really on like very practical. I was like,
Mhm.
that is real fire that I'm
Mhm.
hmm
watching go through. The unfun part is that someone didn't do their job and didn't tell the police. So everything else was like it was above board. They got all the permits, they like did everything, but like someone forgot to tell the police. So the real fire department showed
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Did they get, like, a fine or something? Because I
Oh,
mean
honestly, I could
I
see
would
that. Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. But it's like I honestly I don't even know if it was someone on like their set because they had all the permits and like the everything was above board. So like I even wonder if it was like someone else like
Yeah,
forgot to fight. Like I don't even know if it was their fault, but
right.
someone didn't do their job.
Can you
Oh,
imagine,
no.
like, the firefighters showing up to that scene, though, and thinking, like, "Oh my god, what has happened?"
Well, just
Right.
being like there's been a giant explosion.
Totally.
And
Like
then being
gas
like, "Oh,
station
sorry.
blew up.
It's actually just a movie.
No,
Our
guys, it's
bad."
cool. Sorry, you can go.
Mhm.
Um, Another unexpectedly expensive scene is when they're in the apartment and they have the Christmas lights and the Christmas music is playing. Apparently Frosty the Snowman is very expensive to get the rights to. So
Okay.
they got slapped. I think that was the most expensive song that they used in this movie was them paying for
I
the
mean, I
Like,
would have just chosen a different
just
song,
choose a different
like
song.
I don't think they knew. Like I think
Yeah.
they
Oh.
filmed, had it, and then later it was
Mhm,
like, "Oh, hey,
mhm,
you use this song." So
Mm.
this is
that's
the
funny.
and like I mean, I think they shot it all pretty quick. So I don't think that it was worth a reshoot to not
Right.
play
Mhm.
Frosty the Snowman.
No.
Also for the apartments, the buckets on the roof.
Yeah.
I guess originally they had like 100 or something buckets, and the director was like, "That's not enough. We need to like fill the roof." So they had like a very short amount of time to go find like 1,000 buckets because it was like, no, we need 1,000, so it's like completely covered.
Okay.
Hence
Well,
why there are laundry baskets.
I was gonna say,
Yes.
I was like, "Wait a hot second. That's a laundry basket with
How's that gonna hold
holes.
any water?
Yeah,
Over my toes.
That's
yeah.
gonna hold, like, an inch of water."
Mhm.
So
It's
that was
actually
the
it was kinda funny,
It was kinda
actually,
funny.
like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I guess I get why they kept it in because it was kinda funny.
If
It
it
was
had
fun.
well, no, I could see that as the like, okay, like, what do we have that can hold any? It's like the laundry basket could hold like 1 centimeter of
Right.
water.
Mhm.
But that's why they had that there.
That's funny.
Oh, one error that they talked about is that the zombie, whose name I keep forgetting, the one that they have locked up in
Oh,
like the
Milner
Mailer.
or
courtyard.
Myler?
Yeah.
Mailer.
Mailer.
We see
What?
him when they arrive. He's one of the soldiers that's opening the gate.
Oh, that's
So
funny.
he originally was like cast as just a regular soldier, and they was like, "Hey, you're doing a really good job. Do you want to play a zombie?"
Yeah.
So they switched him to that, and they deleted most of the scenes he was in, except for that one. They
I
forgot
didn't even notice.
about that one, or they couldn't delete it because that was like them entering.
Mhm,
Mhm.
mhm.
Either way, that's him. We see
Okay.
him
Okay,
earlier,
okay.
and then he becomes yeah. So
Mhm.
it doesn't exactly track. I also they mentioned in the commentary, but I didn't see it. I think you can see a car somewhere
Oh,
driving.
that's funny.
Like they mentioned it, but I was
That's
like, I have no idea. I don't know.
Right, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
most
the
people won't notice.
that's the thing,
Yeah.
like, if it's small details like that, I feel like a lot of times people making these movies stress about them,
Yeah.
but for the most part, people are so caught up in the thing that you're supposed to be looking at on the screen, like,
Hmm.
you
Pay
don't
attention to
notice.
the shit that drives us nuts, not the things we don't notice.
Mhm.
Like, pay
Yeah.
attention to the actual errors that
Yeah.
you're making, like,
No, for sure.
come
Although we
on.
did notice the
That
tiny laundry basket, like, we
Yeah,
did
we
notice
did notice the
yeah.
laundry basket.
I feel like that adds to the desperation
I
though
do too,
of
actually.
like just I don't
Just
know,
whatever I
let's put everything
can.
on the roof. A very unfun fact, but it's kind of a part of like how we see this movie now is that the movie was written pre 9/11, but they
Okay.
shot when 9/11 happened. So like they were
Mm,
filming their cute picnic scene as
On
when
9/11.
9/11 had
Oh,
just happened in
oh,
the
yeah.
wow.
US. And then it
Yeah.
was released in 2002.
Mhm.
Right.
Um and so they did have like there were criticisms about things like the poster board with like people like look because it was like hey like this just happened in the
Right.
US and like people
Mhm.
really did that and
Yeah.
like so
It was a
that
little soon.
yeah, but then like a
Mhm.
lot of people think that it kind of does a good job reflecting like a
Yeah.
post 9/11 world
Right.
and like so it's it's something that I like saw and they talked about in the commentary like how weird it was shooting what was probably like the most positive scene in the whole movie
On
with
that
this like
day.
their little celebration and stuff. Like that's what they were filming when they
Yeah.
got the news. So it was like
Wow.
a very strange atmosphere on
Very.
set while they were filming the movie. Like I can't even imagine like filming a movie like this when that like yeah.
But I think seeing it post 9/11, like that does make you wonder, like the opening scenes, like I asked, like, are these real? Like, so I mean, I get how it actually like
Yeah.
was timely to the energy that the movie was going for, you
Yeah.
know?
Totally.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the last one I had was that the like rage, because again we don't get that much information, but
Like what it
the
really is.
rage was like loosely based on Ebola, because it's something that can be transferred to like humans, animals, and like can be transmitted through blood.
Oh,
So
I
like
thought you were gonna say something about Ebola that like it has emotion. I didn't know where you were going with
because
that.
Ebola
So
can actually turn you into
Just
a zombie.
yes, right. Okay.
That's where like they loosely try to like they try to base it off of something that was real, you know,
Okay.
like to get some of the symptoms and the way
Mhm.
that it, yeah. So, yeah, that's all the fun facts and unfun facts
Nice.
I had. Mhm.
So something terrifying happened to me during this movie, and it made me think of one of the notes that I wrote down. So I'm gonna explain
Trying to
my
remember
story
because I was
time.
with you.
No, you were there, Laura. I was drinking a LaCroix,
Okay.
which is an Achaeon. Okay. I have a septum piercing. I have never had an issue with it, but I took a sip and you guys, I don't know what happened, but the can, the little lid thing got stuck on my septum and like pulled it. It was terrifying, you guys.
Oh
Like
God.
it was just fully terrifying. Like I was
I
fine.
left
It didn't actually pull it out or anything. It was
I
totally
left
okay.
I left the room for a minute and I came back and she was like, "This is the worst thing that ever just happened." I was like, "What?"
Okay, so it made me think of it because there was this scene where Selena was in the bathroom and Jem came in and she was like holding her ear because
Mhm.
like somebody pulled her earring out. And I was like, you know what? Of all the times to wear hoop earrings, the zombie apocalypse would not be that time.
Not the time for hoop earrings at
Like,
all.
no. So
Mhm.
that was one of the only notes that I actually took during the movie.
Yeah.
Because I closely related that day with my own horror moment. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what a ride, you guys.
What
What a
ride.
movie. I don't know. I do honestly kind of want to watch the sequels though.
Me
Like
too.
it was I hated it, but it
I
was
want to see where they
interesting.
went with it. Like,
Okay,
Yeah.
so I was at a work meeting today
Mhm.
and I was talking to a friend about that we were going to record this tonight. And so I was like, so I got to figure out what I'm doing with my psych. And
Mhm.
so we were kind of like talking about ways I could go. And this person who I don't know was just standing nearby, but then I could tell he was like listening
Okay.
and he was like very intrigued because I was talking about, yeah, like, the mindset of the group and that the military men were the scariest and blah, blah, blah.
And
And
he said, "I don't have to be invisible. I'm just going to listen."
yeah, he just listened. Well, and it turns out he knew the friend I was talking to and he was waiting to ask her something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I could tell that he, instead of just waiting, he was like kind of like leaning in a little bit. He was
Yeah.
like, "Are you talking about 28 days later?" Or 28 days? Yeah, 28 days
28
later.
days later.
Not the Sandra Bullock.
Not the
28 days
not Sandra Bullock. That's just 28 days.
And so I told him, yeah. And then as we were talking about this, he's like, you know what? The next one, the 28 weeks later, he's like, it explains what you're talking about a little bit more.
Oh,
So he's like, it gets a little bit more
interesting.
into it. And then the
Okay.
next one's coming out. And so he was saying that it's worth a watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
of the other
Okay.
ones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because yeah, we'll get into it, but like I don't really enjoy watching it. Like, I mean, it was
So random.
I don't know.
It was random.
It was not, yeah. So, well, let's just get into it. All right. Because
Yeah.
here on Spooky Sips, we don't give stars, we give sips. So, out of
Yeah.
5 sips, we're going to rate this movie. And
Yeah.
I don't know, you guys. I don't know where to go.
Honestly, this one is really tough because visually it's hard to watch.
Mhm.
Like visually, I was like, this looks so bad that like
My brain
but
just
I'm
had a hard time encoding anything.
yeah, but it's like, and I'm
Mhm.
thinking about the fact that this looks weird and bad. Like it's taking me out of the movie, but
Agreed.
also like it kind of worked because I was like, I don't know, that's what 2002 looked like. This
Yes,
was the quality that we got back then. Like,
it
Mhm.
is.
you know, like I don't know. It's all over the place because like you have the most random scenes. You get Jim as Rambo. You get the cab jumping over the cars. Like it's so weird, but also it was kind of an interesting story. I don't know. I don't
I
know where
just
I'm
think I
going.
had a hard time like caring. Like I don't know, I had a hard time like being like, ooh, I'm interested in what's happening and I want to see what happens next. Like
Mhm.
the only scene that I actually felt engaged with was the eye gouging scene.
Mm.
Yeah,
The rest I was just kind of like, okay, where's this gonna go?
yeah.
But I didn't
I
hate it and I enjoyed talking about it. So I don't
yeah.
know.
Okay. I'll just give a number. Okay.
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 Because that's
Help
what
us
we're
out.
here for.
Yes.
So I feel like it's hard because I feel like sometimes I look at my previous ratings and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Um, but I
In our
think for
defense,
me,
somehow none of us think about our ratings
No,
before
we
know,
we
don't.
right?
start recording.
Until this
For me,
moment.
there's parts of this movie that I really liked. I liked some of the randomness. I liked the horror being the actual military men. I liked the scene where he's walking around and society is gone. And I think it holds a place. I'm concerned the fact that I watched this not that many years ago and completely forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does say something, I think.
So but I do think it has merit. It is still a known movie. It has some good points.
Mhm.
It has I
That's a
mean,
lot of justification you're naming off there,
It has
baby.
points.
so I'm giving it a 2.75 and I think it is one that you should watch.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like I mentioned all the things I didn't like about it, but also I do want to watch the sequel.
Right.
And I feel like the reason we don't do many zombie movies, and the main thing is like I find them just so boring.
They are
Agreed.
boring.
It doesn't work for me. They get really boring. I couldn't do The
Mhm.
Walking Dead. Like I gave up. Like zombie stuff is hard to like get my attention for some reason, and I feel like they did it in a way that was very interesting.
Mhm.
Yes.
Like they changed it. The real evil wasn't the zombies. I like it. It did enough good, I think,
Mhm.
for a movie that came out over 20 years. So I think for me, it's a 3. Like a 3 out of
Okay.
5.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I think I was trying to decide if it was a 2 or a 2.5. I think that
Mhm.
helped me because it is a 2.5 because I did enjoy a lot of parts of it.
Mhm.
Like, and I like talking about it. And I do want to see the sequels, but I didn't love the viewing experience
Mhm.
so much. And I always try to keep that in mind because sometimes I'm like, did I like it or do I remember thinking that I liked it?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And this was one where like the viewing experience, it was not amazing. I was not fully
Yeah.
present.
Mhm.
So there I am.
It did
There
like it wasn't as bad as like Blair Witch, you know?
Right.
Which is like nauseating, just like the
Yes.
discovered camcorder. Like it wasn't as bad as that.
Agreed.
Right.
But I do think it helped
vibes.
put us in a time. You know, it put us into 2002. I
Yes, it did.
believed I was in 2002. Like
And I would
I was
never
there.
like to go back. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right. Well, okay. We got to see the sequels, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see
Mhm.
how those. When was the second one?
No.
What year was it?
that? I
I don't
think
know.
that was that only like a few years ago? Like I feel like it was a COVID thing, like where it was like, oh, this is getting attention again.
I don't know.
2007.
What?
Right? 28
That was not COVID, Yvette.
I was like, let's see. 28 days later, 2002. 28 weeks later, yeah, 2007.
2007.
And
Okay, maybe I
28
was just
years.
thinking about how I saw that it got a resurgence,
Okay,
like
yes.
of attention, not the
Yep.
sequel.
Yep. No, it was only 2 years after.
That was COVID. 2007.
You know what,
COVID,
though?
you know,
I
like a
am
few
going to
years
say
ago,
COVID
2007.
is the time where I just throw things I don't know. I'm like, it was COVID
It was
times.
a COVID, like
I don't know.
yesterday.
I just throw it in COVID times if I don't know where it goes.
2007.
Yep.
5 years ago. You know?
Close enough. You know? Oh. That was my dog. She sneezed.
Oh.
Sorry. Go away. Okay, something exciting is happening for Spooky Sips. We were talking about it at the beginning of the episode where we're really bad at timing our releases, our titles on appropriate days. But you guys, we're getting it right next time.
I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like
we
we
are
should do it.
releasing our midsummer episode on midsummer, June 24th.
Oh, nice.
So our next movie is going to be Midsummer, and it is coming out on Midsummer, which is
did it.
a big deal for us.
Yay! We didn't do it like 1 week after.
Like a day after, right?
Mistake.
So if you haven't seen it, get watching, get sipping, and we'll see you next time on Spooky Sips.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Yote.
Thank you for listening to Spooky Sips. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening. To stay up to date on all the spooky things we're up to, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at spookysips_podcast. And if you want to help support the podcast, consider buying us a coffee, or really a cocktail. We are completely independent, so every little bit goes a long way to keeping our podcast running and improving. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.